at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn.
That's all right. I can do the right one. Sorry, everybody.
Hey, welcome. You just...
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say, you should have let it play. We haven't heard that one in so long. And we have a domestic dumpster fire, part 72 today. So welcome to the show, everybody. A little bit of a misfire there, but, you know, when watchers playing with the settings over the weekend, you never know what you're going to get.
You never know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Watcher, did you guys do a show over the weekend?
We did a Riot Watch.
Okay, very cool. Did you do that on CF or Future Conflict, or did you do that?
I did that over on mine, but we pimped Future Conflict every chance we got. So,
all right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Council Future Conflict, episode 615, Domestic Dumpster Fire, part 72, and Iran AD. I haven't been counting, but I feel like 72 is an apt amount of dumpster fire. Someday it'll get into 6 digits or 3 digits, but I mean, you're not wrong. No, I didn't blame Joe. I blamed Warren.
Whoa, hold on. Is that a full sugar monster?
No, it's a low carb.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, low carb. It's only got 30 calories in it.
Yeah, those were the first ones I ever tried. That's a gateway drug.
Well, I just like the flavor a lot better than the sugar-free ones. I can drink a sugar-free one because my Coke Zero addiction has made me, immune to the negative. I still can't drink Diet Coke.
Now,
I feel like we just kind of continued the behind-the-scenes conversation. Generally,
you know what's better than that? Better than Diet Coke? Right here, Coke Zero.
Hey, whoa.
Blade Pardo.
Hey,
brother.
Thought I'd drop in for a few minutes at least.
You know what? Blade Pardo showed up because he knew I was about to show this.
Yep.
Last week, our friends at Hoplite Industries wanted me to test their body armor, and we did. Not only did I test it, but I gave it laser eyes. And
it passed.
That's pretty awesome. It's kind of a Blue Dawn tribute, and
that's cool.
This will be a decoration now at Camp Ponderosa. And did you notice there's no deformity on the back? So this body armor would have saved a life. That's 7.62 by 39 at about 25 meters. So
Blaine, I have it on good authority that is the actual body armor worn by Captain Dolio of Pure Bloods, as it saved his rounds from some social enforcers.
It might not have been in the book, but it will be now.
I can't wait to we should write an entire off the page journey for Captain Dolio, Joe. You can do it. We can write it as an autobiography.
Upstairs we have a Marine Captain's Service Alphas as part of the surplus somebody donated, and I would go through and get all of his decorations, and we could write a backstory using that uniform.
There we go.
Yeah, what's the Star Wars comic, the one that reveals what really happened on the Death Star and stuff? It was actually those two guys who were doing everything. I think this would be a perfect opportunity. It'd be great.
Hey, Blaine, I'm glad you're here. Guess what should be coming in within the next week or so?
Actually, guess what got here yesterday? A portion of it got here yesterday.
Yay!
Yeah. So I was hedging my bets that the last shipment will come in sometime next week, but
I think that's accurate. It's the backers for the mech boxes that's going to be the longest, but the books got here. They got here early.
So as soon as we can start fulfilling stuff, we will start fulfilling Land and Sea in relatively short order. We'll fulfill as items come in, everybody. So. We will. Once I get the pictures from Watcher, we're going to be doing an update on the site, so that way everybody can. I meant to do one about 2 weeks ago, Blaine, but I knew the books were coming in. I wanted to get those books, and we had a snafu with the digital print proof, so we had to fix that, and that was another week to add. So anyway, thank God it's finally here.
We almost had one portion of one letter of one word get dropped off, and so the printer was like, "Wait, stop!"
Oh, great.
Anyway, so it's just I'm glad to see it come to a conclusion, and hopefully we can get started on the next chapter. All right, that's all the excitement in that part of the room. Joe, anything else? Real quick, Joe, how did the class go this weekend?
Oh man, the class went fantastic. Several guys who are in the chat were in the class. I've only seen one so far, but the others are probably lurking and hanging around. We had a great time. We even went and did a stream crossing of Goat Creek in January. So that was rather exciting and cool and cold. But we did a lot of great stuff, taking the Fieldcraft class and making it winter style. The guys out doing some land nav in the snow, building snow campsites, learning to properly use sleds and all kinds of cool stuff, snowshoeing. It was actually an absolute blast of a weekend. We did some bonus body armor testing in the middle of class, which was fun. And Alan and Linda had a great time interacting with the students, and the guys had a great time learning about what we do here. So pretty cool, pretty solid. Yeah, there are two mountain partisans in this video, in this photo, and you can't see them. And one guy said, "I'll be able to find them with my thermals." And I said, "No, actually you will not, because they are underground and under a pine tree." But they did a great job camouflaging their positions and using them. So it was an absolute blast. Everyone got along great. We had a good time.
One more thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had sloppy moose.
Sloppy moose.
That was absolutely fantastic. We've got a few 100 pounds of moose in the freezer. So I was like, you know what? Let's do something Montana-ish for this class. Let's have some sloppy moose. And it was a really good time. Everyone enjoyed it. But we're not done. In just 2 days, in case you haven't signed up yet, Kay from Combat Studies Group will be here on Thursday and Friday doing Ground Rod 1, where you can learn to secure your digital footprint. An absolutely fantastic and eye-opening class that I recommend everyone take to learn how to limit the amount of personal identifying information you leak and amount of pattern of life stuff you share out in the ether. And then on Saturday and Sunday, the class I'm really looking forward to, Gunfighter Concepts Pistol, where you can learn some pretty good stuff and actually get out there and shoot and move and do all kinds of good stuff. So get on out here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I so much good stuff going on out there at the camp. I can't wait. Like I suggested to Joe before the show started that we get a X account set up for the camp. I think that's a winning proposition. And the cool thing about it is, Joe, that we can, all the stuff that you're doing with tactical wisdom and the classes and everything, it just feeds right into the stuff we've been doing this summer. Looking forward, inshallah, I'm able to, join you guys this July. So looking forward to that.
It's kind of funny. 2 years ago, if you had talked about Joe putting his camp up on X, it would have been, oh God, we'd be on the government radar. They'd be all over us.
Militia training center.
It would be a terrorist training site. That DHS would be after him and everything else. And now we can just talk about it openly and go, well, let's put up an X site for it. So freedom, yo.
What's funny is over the years, we've now inserted our own man into the assistant secretary of war position. I mean, we have infiltrated the government fully. They're in good shape.
You don't infiltrate us; we infiltrate you.
Oh, wait, so are you saying Patriots are in control?
I don't know if anybody's actually in control, but certain people are out of control.
I couldn't help myself.
Blaine, how are you doing today, brother? It's been too long. Yeah, how's what books? How many books have come out since the last time that we spoke? I think the last time was Tenet 3, right?
Yeah, Tenure 3's out. Tenure 4 is done through edit. We're just waiting on the cover for that. I've got a new Land and Sea series. I'll hold this up.
Oh,
Chisholm's Black Sheep.
Oh, hold on.
And Joe will like it. It is a Marine story.
Yeah,
it's a whole Marine miniseries told from one character perspective.
Connected to the previous Marines that are in?
No, it's a standalone Land and Sea series. Good entry point for people, but it's a lot of fun. And if you enjoyed the movie The Dirty Dozen, this is the Dirty Dozen in the Land and Sea universe. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm working on book 2 of that right now because the first book's done and the cover's done, and we're just waiting for that to come out. And I'm getting ready to jump into Tenure 4.
You know what's beautiful about that is that the Marines are what the Dirty Dozen should have been made for anyway. Because let me just quote the famous Lieutenant General Chesty Puller. After been giving a tour of his new command, he said, "That's all well and good, but take me to the brig. I want to meet the real Marines."
The real Marines.
That's actually in the book, Joe.
Yeah,
Thanks to you. Thanks for the quote. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. This series is a lot of fun. It's just been fun to do, and I've had a number of Marines opine on it, give me some guidance, especially book 2, where I have the Marines and the SEALs interacting, and the Marines rob them blind. It's a lot of fun.
I never get sick of hearing all the cool stuff that you're dipping your toes in, Blaine. And it's how you do it, I'll never know, but you're a better man than me. All right, Watcher, how about you?
Doing good. Just watching things rapidly dissemble.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? It's the sports ball of the new era. At my work, and some of you know where I work. Everybody is really impressed that 2026 is a absolute banger thus far. They can't wait to see what happens next, and we almost have a pool ready to go on that. So,
if I may offer my theory as to what is happening, you know how the Democrats sometimes, when they're trying to get us to go off balance, they just do whatever. Like they'll throw a million court cases at something, knowing none of them are going to stick, but it forces you to actually deal with each and every. You have to comment on all of them, and it wastes all this time and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I think Trump learned a lesson from that.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and Joe, you know about this more than anybody. You have to act. You have to act decisively, and sometimes a poor decision, decisively executed, is better than no decision, or at all. So we can't complain about his decisiveness. That's for sure.
All I could say is I've never really given a flying frickin' or rolling donut in regards to Greenland, but based on the reaction I've been seeing from Europeans, I now really want Greenland. And I want to take it by force. I want to watch because they have overreacted in a way where the French are like, "We will send troops to Greenland and we will fight you there."
Well, no, France is talking about pulling out of NATO now, which I think is, if we can get France to pull out of NATO, we probably fixed NATO at that point.
I gotta be honest with you, and all Trump's doing, because if you know Donald Trump, what he's doing is he's going, "Hey, we may invade there." It's an opening bid, is all
exactly
it is.
Right.
He's not really planning an invasion. But if I was him, I'd be like, you know what? You're threatening to make us pull all our bases out of Europe? Come on, asshole! You're actually sweetening the pot.
Yeah, I've got something for this, and the best part is the Europeans probably won't understand the context. So
Yeah.
Yes. Song of the South. That was a great movie. Like,
Yeah.
and and those stories. So the funny thing is that movie got like the stories from that were all over Disney back in the late 70s and early 80s. That was the first thing that I ever noticed that disappeared because of PC. So.
Yeah, the only reason I ever saw it was because I had a really good humanities teacher that did a banned film thing, and that she decided she was going to bring in Song of the South, even though that was not on the approved list, and she had a home copy.
Yeah, well, it made it to VHS, but then it disappeared into the vault, never to return.
Yeah.
All right, we got a busy show for you today, guys. So let's jump right into it. Japan's top diplomat heads to the Philippines with South China Sea top of the mind. This is from the South China Morning Post. Let's see. Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi
Ooh,
stopped
you look serious.
Yeah, he does not look like he fucks around. Stop in Manila on Thursday as part of a 9-day diplomatic tour of the Middle East and Asia that began last Saturday with stops in Israel, the Palestinian territories, Qatar, the Palestinian territories. What? That's like there's more than one of them. Okay, I guess it could be
The
like
West and East Bank.
I mean, first of all, you didn't go to fucking Gaza. Probably the West Bank is about the only thing I could think of. Qatar and India. He talks with the Philippine Foreign Affairs Secretary are expected to review developments of their decade-old strengthening strategic partnership, explore Manila's agenda on this year's ASEAN chair, and to touch upon security cooperation amidst China's growing maritime presence. Joe, who would have thought that the Japanese would be allied with the Philippines? Like they invaded the Philippines for Christ's sake. It's like talk about odd bedfellows. At last year's, the Marines.
It's just crazy talk.
Hey, brother, I'm here for it though.
To enter a mutual defense treaty is just the weirdest thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, the Philippines is the place where the last Japanese soldiers surrendered, and it was like in 1980. So
yeah. He didn't realize that the war was stopped or whatever. He thought he was still behind. I didn't realize. Oh, excuse me. All right. They are expected to review developments in their relationship, explore. Let's see. At last year's East Asia Summit in Malaysia, Japan reiterated its opposition to any unilateral attempts to alter the status quo in the South China Sea through force or coercion. Motegi said at that time in Tokyo, was seriously concerned about rising tensions, calling on all parties to resolve disputes peacefully and respect the 2016 arbitral ruling that rebutted Beijing's expansive South China Sea claims.
So, and I'd like to take a moment here and say, because this is very relevant, right? All the people who are currently shrieking that America is the one that's breaking the rules and international norms. No, China's been breaking the rules and international norms since they've existed, because rules and international norms are fairy tales. They are bullshit. Okay.
Watcher, the people that are saying that are doing it because they're so deep in the pockets of the Chinese at this point that they're worried about what will happen to their economy if they say anything.
Yeah, that's true. Real quick, Loki Larp, thank you so much for the gifted subs, boss.
Yeah. I just realized when I saw that I didn't have Rumble open, so I'm currently opening the Rumble chat. Let me continue on with the story here. It will be challenging for Manila to use its position as the chair to pursue its interest in the South China Sea without any pushback, said a security analyst. Let's see. He noted that the ASEAN had a lot on its plate already with Cambodia, Thailand, border tensions, the ongoing crisis in Myanmar, and navigating U.S.-China tensions. From my engagements with Filipino officials, I know Manila understands the situation and is working on balancing its strategic and security concerns. But for those other ASEAN members, the Japan also expects the Philippines to take lead in advancing talks between ASEAN and China on the long-delayed South China Sea Code of Conduct, according to Lucio Blanco Pito, president of the Philippine Association of Chinese Studies. The aspiration of the Philippines is to conclude it next year. Joe, what do you bet that they sign it and then break it within the month? China signs this code of conduct and then immediately
100%.
ignores it.
100%. I just got followed by HexMag. That's actually kind of cool. Anyway, I think that China always does that, right? We're going to do this, and then they break it. We accept your decision, and then they break it. And it's just crazy. China.
By the way, I just realized download Rumble Wallet to tip creators, buy Bitcoin, and stay in control. So I guess they've added a crypto tipping scheme with Rumble. Yeah, I don't hate that.
I'm already working on that whole situation. I have to get Kay's opinion on it first.
All right. Yeah, if you had me at Bitcoin, I'm sorry. I'm a stan. What can I say?
Shocking.
All right. I know. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. All right.
Well, it's good to see that Japan and the Philippines are finally starting to take this seriously.
Yeah, the whole strange bedfellows thing to me, like I was just playing Hearts of Iron 4 over the weekend, and the Japanese invasion of the Philippines kind of like it's the first thing that pops into my mind.
Well, if you look at it, if they're gonna actually buckle down and try and take Taiwan, they kind of, in some ways, almost have to take some of the Philippines first to try and deny us basing close enough to be able to do something about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's interesting is Japan is not waiting for America to coordinate with or anything else. They're taking the initiative. And that tells you that they recognize what the threat is.
Yeah, that's interesting, Blaine. Ever since America got deeply involved in Europe, essentially Europe has internal kind of leaders, but when it comes to outward facing, they tend to, for the last 70 years to pretty much follow the U.S. lead on almost everything.
And your definition of leader is someone who's elected, right? Not somebody who's actually a leader.
Well, what I mean is like actually, like setting the policy or, setting the agenda, right? But that's the odd thing in the EU now, whether it's a NATO chief or it's the EU chief or whatever, they're not elected by anybody.
Yeah, only Europe would be so stupid to say, what we need is an extra level of democracy where there's absolutely no democracy.
That's, I don't know. Anyway, I think this is very interesting. I think this is a good move on the part of Japan and the Philippines to tighten their, the Philippines have got a pretty healthy land force. Their Navy needs some work, and maybe their friends, the Japanese, could help them out with that. It'd be good to see them, kind of up the ante. All right. Any other final thoughts on Japan and the Philippines in opposition to China? All right. Moving on. This next one is I feel like this is a good public service announcement. When we see a good account out there, it's worth kind of, bringing awareness to. This guy's got like only 5,000 followers. And he says, I've been removing the death to ICE banners posted over 490 and 590. I guess this is in New York, right? About as fast as the little bastards can post them up. So he's basically taking these signs down off the interstate overpasses, and this is good. This is exactly what regular people need to be doing.
Yeah. Now, people have pointed out, guys, that yes, he should not have a pocket knife. He should have some snippers. People have sent him about 1.5 million links for them, so I'm sure he's going by Harbor Freight to pick some up.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I thought he was going to cut his finger off the way he's
I'll be honest with you. He's putting out video of him committing a crime in New York City by having a knife. So I would
yeah,
not.
We're trying to get him nippers.
Me having a knife in New York City.
We're trying to get him some nippers for sure. But apart from that, kid is doing good work. I think he's got rollerblades and he's just running around all these freeway overpasses, finding him as soon as they have little teams and cars running around, putting them up. And as soon as he sees them goes up, he slices them off.
Yeah, I'd like to see him then just cut it up with this so they can't reuse it.
Oh, I think he's been like stealing them, but.
Well, I know, but like if it's all slashed up, then you could just throw it away whenever, unless he's got a collection.
His house with them.
I'm gonna say, yeah, he's got
captured enemy battle flags.
That's right, Joe.
It's not guerrilla warfare; it's monkey warfare.
I love it. Yeah, so it's good to see
and remember,
a brave young American patriot out there doing behind enemy lines, and no less.
And remember, folks, if it's monkey warfare, apes together strong.
Yes. Speaking, I just went straight into my transition, and I almost. Oh my God.
Woo!
Welcome to the racist portion of our show.
So I hear you're a racist now, Father.
That that is an honest Freudian slip. That is not even. Not even
on purpose.
Like,
yep. Yeah, no, it's one of those. It's one of those. Yeah. If you've ever watched the show, we take any transition we can get. But
Joe's like, I gotta get an all jail free card on me. I didn't. He's like, I didn't say shit, man. I was sitting there thinking, you're so racist, Scott. Here we go with some soldiers from the country formerly known as Rhodesia, enjoying. I don't know.
The audio because they're being as Zimbabwean as possible.
Еще на залив пойдут. По-другому запоют.
That's the entire first division.
So here's the cool thing. It's a combination of traditional African music and Zimbabwean gangster rap all at the same time. And you didn't know you needed it in your life until you came to Future Conflict and you learned about it. But you can't get more opposite than Zimbabwe than Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Those two guys in the background are my favorite because they're just sitting there going, "Why the hell are we sitting in this freaking snow?" they're not singing.
So evidently
falling from the sky.
Evidently, they're getting paid $2,000 to $2,500 a month to do this. So that's big money in the former Rhodesia. But you can tell what their real use is if you go back and play the subtitles and pause them so I can read them. Because this is a kind of a key element here. Look how. So the first thing he says, look how many disposable ones there are here. He's speaking in Russian, so they can't understand him. Also, they sing. They are joyful. Never mind the part that. Never mind. Now they'll depart to the Zaliv, some part of the front, and they'll start singing differently. And then he just lets them sing at that point. So, I mean, I feel bad for these guys because let's be honest, they're being used in somebody else's meat grinder.
We say Zimbabwe now, don't we? Do we?
I always fall back on that line from Groucho Marx. If we had more men like them, we'd have less men like them.
Well, the irony is, Joe, this is This is Ukraine.
Yeah. Right. This is Ukraine. That would be TIU.
Yeah, TIU. What? TIU. This is Ukraine. All right. All right. Moving on. So this next portion,
Oh, skipping ads.
we're doing domestic first, right?
Oh, I guess so.
That's what I've got. I've got all the domestic stuff first, and then.
Oh yeah,
the
I just
Iran
figured
stuff.
ads after.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. All right, Joe. Let's talk a little bit about tackle-wisdom.com. You talked about the training over the weekend, but that's not the end of it.
That's correct. There's a lot of other things going on. We're going to be. I don't have a lot on my schedule yet because there's some disputes over my calendar with the boss. But in a couple weeks, we're going to have Combatives Weekend, where you can learn unarmed self-defense, ground fighting, stick fighting, knife fighting, and good old bayonet action right here at sunny Camp Ponderosa. Fortunately, this class is entirely indoors, so you can stay warm. We've got bedrooms for you. We've got a dining hall. It's been getting some good use this week. So come on out and learn how to fight. Combatives Weekend is a great weekend. If you take Combatives once, you can always come back again for free. You just have to let me know you're coming. And because I want you to get the reps in. I want you to continue to train and get some practice on that. And then the week after that, we'll be back into the winter survival course, which is a really good class. It's just a 2-day class, Saturday and Sunday, but it is a fantastic winter survival skills class. You learn some basics about navigation without a compass, starting fires, finding water, all kinds of good stuff. So check it out, and then I will be updating the schedule later this week. Good stuff. So come on out and do it. Watch for some articles over on Locals today. I'll be doing a review of the Hoplite Industries body armor. In case you didn't catch the beginning of the show, that now has laser eyes because we shot it with a 7.62 by 39, and it survived. We shot another panel of it with 5.56, and it also survived that. So pretty cool stuff. And then I'm going to do a review of some brush beater optics over on Tactical Wisdom. So pretty cool stuff. A lot of good gear reviews and stuff like that coming out. So awesome stuff. Check it out.
Very cool. All right, moving on to the brush beater portion of the insane profit break section of the show. All right, so tonight we're referencing the boiling conflicts in Iran, Venezuela, Syria. There's domestic. There's flashpoints all over the world. It's almost too many to list. And for that, you need brushbeater.store. Let's see. When the world's hotspots erupt in unison, you need eyes that don't blink. Enter our sponsor, Brushbeater Store, led by NC Scout, with Kyber optics to dominate the darkness in any theater. From Iranian streets to Venezuelan vacuums, the Syrian battlegrounds, Kyber optics for Brushbeater give you the upper hand. The Kyber optics PVS-14 monocle, Generation 2 Plus phosphor, premium Japanese glass, lifetime, you break it, we replace it warranty, owns the night in urban revolts or desert ambushes, run lightweight with the Skull Crusher head mount for marathon ops in contested zones. In the glaring chaos of multi-front conflicts, the Kyber Optics MDO locks a close emitter red dot with the Shake Awake and 50,000 hour battery life. Fast acquisition for any sudden flare-up. And for overseeing sprawling battlefields or shifting alliances, the Kyber Optics 1 to 6 power LPVO serves up variable power with battle-hardened etched reticles ready for close combat, chaos, or long-range observation. Test the tactical edge in the darkroom at Brushbeater's Yanceyville, North Carolina showroom, or arm up at the brushbeater.store/collection/optics. Use code CFC10 for 5% off all Kyber Optics, night vision, radios, or training. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Big thanks to Matt at Brushbeater Store for fueling the council on future conflicts. Visit brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and illuminate the conflicts wherever they burn. All right, so back to the show. Man, I was looking at the website over the weekend, man. It looks like he's adding some new stuff. It's kind of hard to to follow all the deals and all the things.
He is, and I have a rumor based upon my emails this morning that he has found a handheld radio that does CB, VHF, and UHF transmit and receive. And I may be able to tell you how good it is by the end of the week. So,
very cool.
We will be letting you know. So,
I mean, I'm just saying, Joe, if hook a brother up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get back into. Oh, by the way, Blaine, anything you want to plug?
Brushfire's Freedom is out, man.
That's right. Is that the last, or is that the penultimate?
That's the one before the end.
Yeah, there we go. The penultimate. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it's good. So far the feedback's been positive. I like the book. It's a lot of fun. We end on a good cliffhanger. So now I got to just write the last book.
Well, but I assume, I mean, this is a little bit of a process question, but you pretty much know where you're going. You just, is it like you got to figure out how exactly you get there type thing, or is the whole structure?
There's some seeds of stuff that I set in this book that I pick up in the next book, and there's some characters that we brought back from book 2 and 3, and stuff. And we show a real shitty FBI person. Doing setting people up for crimes and then hunting them down for years, and just the usual stuff.
That's awesome. No, I mean, it's it's such a rich world. I'm going to be sad to see it go, but who knows? Maybe there will be future stories from that world.
I'd like to do some stories that took place during all this, but right now I gotta get. I think the fans would be pissed if I jumped into that and didn't get to. I'm not going to do a George R.R. Martin, guys. I'm actually going to finish the series.
Oh my gosh! Hold on, you brought it up. Has everybody seen it?
What's this?
So the classic, the meme we've been seeing with Marco Rubio in any kind of costume you can imagine, right? So somebody put him in George R.R. Martin's clothing and said, Rubio, when he realizes he's going to have to finish Winds of Winter.
That's so funny. Blade, some point maybe we do this. I don't know. Maybe we do another another Writers Fix Problems episode where we talk about I'd love to see your process, how you do you have a skeleton of a plot, or do you just jump right into it and you start kind of moving around the big action pieces?
I come on this show, I go to the gym and make shit up.
Hey man, that's.
I have a bad feeling it would just be that SpongeBob meme. Hey, want to see me write a book? Hey, want to see me do it again?
Yeah. Lord knows he does it enough. All right. So it's if we could only bottle what whatever it is you're ingesting. All right. So the first topic up today is domestic stuff. We're gonna talk broadly about far left protesters first, and then we'll kind of get into Minnesota, and then finally the incident with the MEK truck. What ended up being a truck attack, but intent and what happens are two different things. All right, so first up, this is interesting, Joe. We see some of our friends from the the PSL show up. Joe, I think it's important for people to understand the position of PSL in the kind of hierarchy of all this kind of stuff. Let me read this, and then we'll listen to this guy's video. It's kind of a 2-minute thing, and he'll explain some of it, but I just want to give you guys a little from Benny Johnson here. Proof that all left-wing riots and protests nationwide are coordinated and financially backed. The woman caught at an Atlanta riot has been showing up at protests across the city again and again. Journalist David Cott identified her at an anti-ICE protest and found her at May Day, pro-Iran rallies, anti-Trump demonstrations, and outside Atlanta's ICE office. She admitted that she's with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Kat traced the operation. PSL sends money to chapters nationwide. Activists are paid to organize and to attend protests. The same group is tied to the unrest in Atlanta and Los Angeles. It's all all organized and funded. All right, let's listen to what he's got to say here.
Oh, sorry. You guys are muted. Hold on. There we go.
Who's this woman in the red shirt coordinating with local Atlanta police at an anti-ICE protest that escalated into a riot with tear gas and riot police deployed? For every new 100 followers, I'll expose a new group. She's a professional paid protester. Let me show you how. Here she is at the International Workers' Day protest. Here she is again at a pro-Iran rally, at an anti-Trump demonstration, and leading a protest outside Atlanta's ICE field office. And she's never alone, always accompanied by the same woman who I've nicknamed Crazy Babushka. Here they are together at multiple Atlanta protests. So here's footage of me asking them what group are they affiliated with.
What does your shirt say?
It says Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm an organizer with the PSL.
Okay. Liberation for what?
Liberation for all oppressed nations and all nations fighting against U.S. imperialism.
Their highly organized and coordinated efforts prompted me to investigate their funding. And what I uncovered is a scary foreign influence campaign. The Party for Socialism and Liberation distributes funds to its chapters across the country, including those in Atlanta and Los Angeles. These funds are used to pay protesters like the woman in the red shirt to organize and attend demonstrations. This is the same group that is behind the recent LA riots. Notice the red shirts in LA matching those I filmed in Atlanta. Their funding comes from a $20 million donation by a nonprofit run by Nival Roy Singham, whose wife serves as a board member of that nonprofit. It's simple. $20 million is funneled to the United Community Fund, which then funnels money to PSL. The leader of the PSL, Claudia de la Cruz, also holds a leadership role in the People's Forum, a New York City hub where organizations like the PSL meet and strategize. Between 2017 and 2022, Singham donated $20 million to the People's Forum. Singham, a self-described socialist, lives in China where he regularly meets with Chinese Communist Party officials and attends their events. And that is how these protesters can afford to protest every single day.
Yeah, so if you don't think that China isn't directly connected to everything that's happening. Joe, one of the things we were talking about before the show is we described the PSL kind of as the central nervous system for a lot of the street level actors that you see on the street. You know, they're helping lining up the paid protester gigs. You know, they're the connective tissue between the money and the street level groups. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, they're sort of a left-wing militia and an organizing group. What's funny is you'll go out to an event and you'll see the street PSL guys, which are these ones making the $15 to $18 an hour, but then you'll see a really nice, slick organizing group. And I can tell the difference is the radios. The street guys have the typical Baofeng UV5Rs, but when you see the guys with the high-end digital encrypted radios, that's PSL. And everyone who wants to joke about the left not being organized and ready, the PSL proves that they are. They're using digital secure comms. They're organizing events and are able to raise a crowd within hours in most major cities in the U.S. That is armed, angry, and committed to their cause. They are a sleeper group that most people have ignored because they're all about Antifa. Antifa is the one that shows up on video and is their actual public relations arm, right? We want something bad to happen, we bring out Antifa. But when the actual work is being done in organizing these protests, aligning speakers, and getting out their message of radical revolutionary communist overthrow, PSL is where it's actually at. You really need to be paying attention to them. You should be monitoring your local PSL social media groups because they have them all over the country. But I don't recommend following them or friending them on Facebook or whatever. Don't put yourself out there.
Yeah, don't connect yourself to them at all.
They also
more than don't even attempt to infiltrate them.
Yeah, that's not.
They're really good at counterintelligence. You don't want that. You really don't want that.
There's some videos from the 2020 era that are probably relevant where people that and there's a reason that he stopped doing this, but people that Crowder paid infiltrated some of these groups, and the people that went to them very nearly got killed.
So this is an ad for this is on the Philadelphia Craigslist. It says hiring immediately. Call today. Start tomorrow. $15 to $18 hourly rate plus bonus plus overtime up to 77 hours per week. Drivers earn gas reimbursement, morning and evening shifts. No previous experience required. Full-time, part-time positions. Weekend positions available, no fundraising, no commission. So you essentially could make $50,000 a year. So if you got two lesbians, you know, maybe that would be something that they could earn together, a very comfortable living. You know, I'm just saying, unless one of them gets iced.
They certainly
until
weren't
you
at their
get shot
jobs.
by ice. Yeah. I'm
Iced,
sorry,
yeah.
Brian, what did you say?
No, they weren't at their jobs. I mean, that's been my question from day one is how can you afford a private school, which they had their child in, and be out on the streets during the day? You know, are you working?
Wow.
Where are you working? Who are you working for? And notice we haven't seen anything about that at all.
No, that's because she hasn't worked for anybody officially since before her second husband died several years ago.
Right.
So it's I think she's probably partially living off of whatever life insurance fund he left, and then probably makes a pretty handy income on the side, which is what everybody suspected from the beginning.
Yeah. Joe, that radio is pretty rad. Is that the one you were talking about that is available already?
Yeah, the Radtel. Yeah, I'll be testing it out this week. So
it's very cool. All right. Moving on.
Hold on, before we do, CWSB, 5,000% agree. Next.
What did it say? All right.
Oh, they need to reopen the investigation into her ex-husband's death. Like, the more I'm learning about this, the more I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that he died. That's crazy. All right.
Yeah, Marine, former Marine, and all the indications are that it was a self-ending. But now I think that should probably be reinvestigated.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna have to go back to the previous tweet because he basically is putting this as a reply. So the first one will give us the background. Yeah, that one right there. Meet Matthew Ving, 39 from St. Paul, Minnesota. Matt is a paid agitator who stalks and doxes ICE agents and the hotels they're staying at. He claims to be a guitar instructor at St. Paul Conservatory for Performing Artists and Choctaw. Let's see, music studios. He's such a loser that his family business won't even list him on their website. And here's a lot of information about him. And he's got all the information, and then and he posts it as one does. And then so very shortly after that, Safety Swipe posts update. Matthew Ving has nuked his Facebook and X, but is still on Blue Sky. He's complaining about death threats and fear from his employer being flooded with email calls by morning and the likelihood of ICE showing up soon. Yes, and that's something, Watcher, I want you to talk about here in a second. Since Sunday, I've been a target of a right-wing harassment and stalking campaign. I have been followed and intimidated by ICE agents, including local police. My parents, employers, the building I live in that houses 30 other local artists are now known to very dangerous accounts online. The death threats are numerous across my accounts. The schools I work at will be receiving emails and calling by the morning. I'm assuming I will start to see ICE outside that building.
Good.
I mean, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
So I want to
he posted the address of the hotel where the ICE agents were staying. Did he think folks wanted to send them a pizza, maybe send them flowers?
These online accounts are telling followers that I have doxed federal agents and giving all my info, all of it. But I only posted the name of a new ICE hotel. Oh, okay. So that's their location in the local area.
Just in case somebody wanted to send them dinner, right?
That's right.
No, like he's trying to rely on the same fallback they always do. Look, I only did one tiny piece of the doxing, knowing that other people would follow up on it and fill in the other information that I left. I'm not responsible.
Yeah, that it's the tired Moat and Bailey kind of thing. I admit to one thing and then defend it. The bullshit.
Before we move on, if you're out there and you're on your butt and you don't have anything else you can do to help contribute to the fight, you know what you can do is scroll through these videos and find people that are either threatening violence or getting violent, grab stills of their faces, and there are multiple accounts that are really fucking good and scary at this that are tying these people to their real world identities and making sure that consequences find them.
Yeah.
Look, I went through this with my stalker and the woke. This concept of how dare they reach out to my employer, etc. Screw you. You did it to dozens of other people.
Yeah.
You thought it was funny. You thought it was a great thing. It's just the consequences of your actions. Well, there you go. How's it feel when it's turned on you, dumb fuck?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
It's always funny how that works, isn't it?
No, don't be.
They hate it when it happens to them, but it's funny when they do it to others.
Yes.
The consequences of my actions.
Curse your inevitable betrayal.
It's the consequences of my own actions.
All right.
Oh, this one's good. This one's so
and
good.
this I could literally put this on loop here. Put this on a loop. I highly recommend.
You think you can stand here and scare us? Huh? You're not protecting anyone. You're the problem. Look at me when I'm talking to you. What are you going to do, tough guy? You going to hide behind that mask? Say something. Say something. Oh, my eyes. Oh, damn it. Get it off.
I'm pretty sure this is AI, but God, I'm here for it.
It is AI, but it is totally funny, and I love it.
Because
I've got a real
lot
one.
Of things that,
I've got a real one. Hold on. As long as we're here in the vein, let me grab the real one that happened that they're freaking out about.
Yeah, where they shot the guy with the chalk round.
Yeah.
I love that.
Funny.
So they're freaking out about this. They make it way too easy.
That's a good transition to actual ICE on the ground doing the Lord's work. So we've got Nick Sorter. He was following the protest in Minnesota, and ICE got involved. Breaking Nick Sorter just ripped off the mask of a leftist rioter in Minneapolis who assaulted him. Federal agents then rushed in and deployed tear gas and pepper balls. Fuck around and find out. They aren't so tough without their mask. Watch this. I'll fucking kill you. Is that what she said?
It is what she said.
And then she immediately gets pelted with pepper balls, and he you notice they didn't hit him.
It's that after 10 steps, she needed oxygen.
Yeah. The cameraman's like, all right, this is great footage, but I'm getting the fuck out of here. That's a spicy street now there, Joe.
Here's the thing, man. These people will kill you, and some of these videographers are taking unnecessary chances. And
That's
so when several of them have asked me what the rates would be, I'm like, well, it's risk based. So this is what your rate would be. They're not very happy. So,
well, I mean, part of having a security team is not getting in these scenarios in the first place.
Not
and that doesn't mean you can't
in these situations on purpose. Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you can't be down at the protest and can't get footage, but it means you can't be the one attracting attention to yourself and confronting people and getting in the middle of all this shit.
Right. And this is
no
how
protecting you at that point.
Like Nick Sorter is a good example. I like what he does. I'm here for his content. That being said, he's not like the original riot watchers who were basically, they didn't get involved. They didn't, they just videotaped and showed what was going on. This absolutely gets in there and mixes it up with them. So he's more of a.
And they did occasionally get attacked, if you remember. And that might be where people go, well, what do you mean they got attacked? Yes, that's because Antifa had teams that were finding them online based on where their camera angles were coming from and then finding them on the ground and beating them. Yeah, that's not the same thing.
That's exactly what happened to BG, right? BG.
Yeah.
And so a couple of these guys contacted me about Minnesota work over the last few weeks. I was like, okay, this is the rate. Like, but that's way more than what you charged before. I'm like, yeah, because then it was just me and you at an event. Now you're intentionally going in there, and I'm going to have to hire 5 or 6 high quality guys to do this, and they're not cheap. You could do it with hire Pinkerton or some other security company if you don't want to pay that, but you'll get the results that are equal to the pay.
Right. You'll get a disgruntled
guy, man. He's just every time the guy goes out after Antifa, he's
if you're intentionally going to put yourself in a risky situation, it's expensive for someone to get you out of it. So,
and I just want to be very clear about this. We're not saying don't do it. We're saying there are other smarter ways to do this.
If you want to do it, that's fine, but you just got to pay for it.
So let's point out the consequences here. Caution loud.
So this is Nick inside his vehicle, by the way.
Yeah, getting chased out. Which, by the way, like I said, grab every single one of these people's photos because they are literally threatening to kill him and they are engaged in a seditious conspiracy. It is not hard to come get these people.
Look at the absolute glee on their faces, too, because he's in his vehicle and trying to leave.
Yeah. By the way, watchers, just FYI, I've added a couple links to the end of the Minnesota portion. You'll notice them because they're just standard URLs.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
He starts gently pushing them, and eventually, and they break out his rear window. He jumps the curb, going around traffic, and he's extracted himself.
Let me point out, too, that when they first of all, there's several felonies committed against him in this, right? The malicious destruction of property and all that stuff. When they try to box you in with another vehicle, that is potentially deadly force. Yeah. And it's also unlawful detention, another felony, right? But don't intentionally put yourself in that position.
No. That's a dumb idea.
Yeah,
one day, one of them's going to have a gun. And that will be the end of it. And you need to be
that
aware that is literally what they're going to do.
2020 riots, right?
Yep.
And that's how that one guy with the AK got capped. Was he stuck his AK in the window of that Uber driver who was a off-duty, active duty like infantry guy, and who was carrying, and he shot him.
Well, no, let's be honest. The only reason that they made it out is because they weren't trying to kill them. If they were trying to scare them very badly, they were trying to beat them, they were trying to harm them. But if they wanted to kill them, they would have just had somebody pull up with a gun and shoot them. That's where we're headed, and people need to realize it.
By the way, I want to catch up. We got a super chat over on YouTube. Lance Corporal Veteran, SF immigration building was bum rushed Friday the 2nd. 2 arrested and released prior to Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, 5 came, burned a U.S. flag in front door, and filmed themselves. Yeah, I mean, this is happening on a lower level all over the country, especially in the big metropolitan areas. But the focus right now, it seems to be Minneapolis, Minnesota, because that's where ICE is at, and so the freaks come out of the woodwork when ICE concentrates. Blaine?
There is a positive side to this, and I got to drop off here in a minute, but I want to at least offer this. With all these Karens going to Minnesota, etc., the homeowner associations around the country are shut down. And this is an opportunity for anybody who wanted to run up a flagpole or put an inflatable Trump in their yard, because all these Karens have gone to Minnesota. You can now do whatever you want at home.
I see the weekly column on Friday getting definitely the homeowner association version of the Friday rant. Looking forward to it, Blaine. I'm glad you could join us. Any day you got 20 minutes for us, Blaine, we'd love to have you in here.
Thanks, I appreciate it, guys.
Even if you're only in the chat, we appreciate your
Talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
All right, see ya.
You know what's crazy is all of the tools that were used to track down people on January 6th seem to not work on leftist protesters who travel the country to attend riots. Crazy,
Isn't that
right?
odd?
But here's the thing. I heard our guys were in charge now. I heard that
What's going on,
Cash
Jack?
Patel was in charge and Donald Trump, and that all that was going to change.
Yeah, not to bite the hand that feeds us or anything, but gee, Bongino, it sure seems like maybe leading a task force to track down these rioters might have been better than podcasting, but what do I know?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I get the feeling that Bongino, I mean, yeah, I think he had some personal reasons for getting out, but I think also he probably was a little bit frustrated with either the pace of action or the actual things that they were doing. So, and he's too much of an honorable guy to come right out and spill the tea. But I bet that tea gets spilled eventually. And I'm giving him the absolute benefit of the doubt there. He could be all wet, but who knows? All right, moving on. What's our next one here?
Our next one's the same one. It's just another part of it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are the multiple. Okay. So this is right after this. They've just kind of done a walk around on the street. So they drive to the probably the hotel or the parking garage or whatever where they're at, and they inspect the items that were used as weapons against them.
They threw through right there and right there. Luckily, there were headrests in the way. If these things, oh yeah, this is used right here. Actually, there might be fingerprints on that one. Yeah, leave that one. Actually, we need to bag that one up. But anyway,
they had gloves
these are frozen solid. Still, hours later, and if they were to have gone through, if I would not have driven away, they would have thrown them through, and they would have hit us straight in the head. And we both may not be here to. But we found these in the truck later. After we drove away, we ran to the Edom police station. Yeah, so just so everybody.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, I know it's not bulletproof glass, but I think if I were going to be anywhere where I knew there was going to be some disruptions like that, I would have Lexan on my vehicle rather than, like tempered glass, auto safety glass. I'm just saying.
This is also why you never go back to your vehicle.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You do a surveillance detection route, then you go back to your vehicle.
Yeah. And you want the vehicle to be firmly away from the area of operation. I mean, even if you have to walk a mile to get to it, I mean,
right?
That's not too difficult.
It's also why you can carry things like distraction devices. You can buy flashbangs. You can buy smoke.
Yeah.
Those things can help you clear a path.
All right. So this next one, Watcher.
It's the same one. It's just somebody pointing out that these are felonies. They're very clear felonies. Here's the law, and pointing out to the people who could enforce the law. Here is the person who broke it, and here's the felony that they broke.
The streamer Mercado is another example of someone who was objective, who then became partisan, but he's a partisan left-wing streamer.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he began with the watches as very neutral and leaned way left. So
yeah, in case anybody hadn't seen it yet, Mercado is the one who's driving these idiots to attack Nick. He's basically saying, "Oh, he's a right-wing streamer. You guys need to attack these guys. Go get them. If they kill you, it's self-defense, Nick."
So just kind of how did these guys become felons when they did this? Whoever transmits or in interstate or foreign commerce any communications containing any kind of demand or request for a ransom or reward for the release of any kidnapped person shall be fined under this imprisoned no more than 20 years or both. Whoever has the intent to extort from a person, firm, association, or corporation any money or other thing of value transmits in interstate or foreign commerce any communication containing any threat to kidnap any person, threat or injure the person of another. Anyway, it goes on. I don't want to read the whole thing. It's fucking legal language.
He meets literally every single one of them. He was live streaming him making threats and literally holding them hostage inside their vehicle, also telling other people to kill them. He was being paid to do that by people on his, like, literally every portion of this he meets in spades.
So his point is, if you're going to just film it and broadcast it of other people saying it, that's fine. But the minute you add commentary and you say the same thing, you've crossed the line, right?
Yeah.
And I recommend he be deported to Djibouti.
And he tried to put his veteran status into this and be like, "Oh, I'm a veteran. We're really fuck you, piece of shit."
I did that just for Jean because I know she waits to hear it every day. So,
all right. By the way, I got some. I want to catch up with all the super chats and stuff. All right. So first of all, low key LARP. We already said thank you, but we'll say thank you again. Gifted 5 subs earlier in the show. Hunch a Dirty Roofer for $2 says, Blaine, do SEALs do the SEALs and have a book deals up for their exploits? Well, no, they do. He does the SEALs and they get bodied by the Marines. So because everybody knows that the SEALs are all the guys whose hair is too nice to join the Marines. Let's see. Hurts to do roofer for $2. Another side note: with all the game wardens doing riot duty, deer season in Minnesota has been extended, and night shoots are allowed. LOL.
There's a question in the chat that says, "How do you do a surveillance detection route?" Very, very simple. Make 3 left turns. Anyone who makes 3 left turns with you is probably following you. Basically, you just keep making a bunch of turns or entering and exiting buildings immediately and see who else does the same thing. And you take a very long and circuitous route back to your vehicle, right? Don't go straight to your car.
All right. Let's see. This next one is, let's just call it Little Mogadishu for nothing. I felt like we were getting ready to see a reenactment of Black Hawk Down here.
Did you see that video where the men in dress? Oh, that's the one. Men in dress video. Yeah.
As soon as I said that, Joe, you're like, oh, hey, that reminds me of this video.
Yeah.
So it says here, new footage from St. Cloud, Minnesota. Somali mob rushes DHS agents during a raid with overwhelming numbers. Let's see. Without superior force, these mobs will feel unstoppable. You will have a Mogadishu on your hands. Yeah.
Bro, you got ran off by men in dresses. Come on.
I mean, in fairness, there's only 2 of them, Joe. You know how it is with the power of a mob.
17 rounds times 4.
Joe, there's a solution.
Yeah, there is.
Jay Clark. Irene.
Fucking Irene. On a related note, Dale Stark has been appointed an ICE agent, has been given a new rod.
Yeah. Evidently 12 A10s were transferred over to DHS.
No, you guys are saying not enough. Nah, if I shoot about 4 of them, the rest of them are going to scatter like rats.
I mean, in fairness, this is one of those kind of situations where warning shots actually could be potentially warranted, but I know law enforcement doesn't do.
Agent Dolio, I said fire a warning shot. Yeah, I shot him in the skull, and his friends are now warned.
I will say that the warning shots were pretty useful in Iraq, but it was a totally different situation, different kind of, because we had no ability to arrest people. We just killed people.
This video convinces me of one thing, and I tweeted it several days ago. ICE needs MP5s. That solves most of this.
I mean, I don't know about MP5s.
You know, Josh Clark put in the CFC fan chat a photo of the Minnesota National Guard, and it's very funny because it's actually Somali pirates. So,
But look, for the sake of argument, Scott, a lot of people have tossed out a lot of other things, and all of them are significantly longer than the MP5. I understand the hesitation about soft armor, but the fact is they have to do a lot of work with their hands. And they need something that can hang fairly close to the body. I'm not going to suggest a P90 because that's fucking gay. So the clear answer in my book is MP5, unless we're going to go all the way down to like Uzis.
Well, the sequel, the problem is you start going down that route, and then you get this scene right here.
I will tell you what, though, if they start piling out of vans and raids with M4s with bayonets fixed, things will start getting very different very quickly.
Yeah.
Agreed. That. Well. Speaking of,
yeah. So this is interesting. I like the we're gonna take care of those windows. We're gonna drag your ass out, and you're coming with us.
Well, I need to stop, gents. Spring-loaded window breakers are less than $3 at Harbor Freight. Much easier than this.
Well, let's be honest. You could have a little piece of the ceramic from a spark plug as a window breaker.
Oh yeah, all kinds of things, but much easier than trying to pound the windows out. Do you want the random leftists screaming, "Get out of our home"?
Well, I mean, it just shows how deranged they are.
Pat, so the left
they just parked it and left it. I would have towed it.
I'm sure they're calling somebody to tow it, but they just wanted to get it out of the road.
Well, you have no fucking right to be here. Get out.
Yeah, they do.
Out of our state.
They all believe this nonsense, right?
Yeah.
It's completely false, but not based in fact at all.
Why are they always 70-year-olds? What is boomers? What is happening?
So there's an advocate, and people are really taking your MP5 comment to heart here. Bullet choice will be critical with that P90. I agree with Watching the Web on this one. MP5, or hear me out, honey badgers. Hear me out. Any pro level pistol caliber carbine in 10 millimeter. We're back to we're back to the FBI of the 80s.
All right. Well, I mean, fair. I'm just saying that we have to consider the muzzle to butt, like how it's got to be small. It's got to be real small.
Yeah. But Joe, 10 millimeters sounds bigger.
No, Jay Clark, you're absolutely right. There's photos of a Methodist church training boomers to do this. There's also, like, if you look at all the early protests, whenever they pick up a new town, when I watch the videos of what's at the protest and who's doing what, it's a bunch of boomers that are literally got their like hippie peace flag American flags from the 70s.
Yeah.
Hanging out on a lawn drinking beer together somewhere, like yelling about ICE.
I think a lot of these guys are people who were straight-laced during the 60s, and now looking back, I wish I had done more now that I'm a big lefty liberal, and now this is their opportunity to I won't say, Joe, this is not a bad call. The plus P45 is a hot little number.
But I don't really know why you need a plus P and a 45.
for more extra death.
Right.
Well, of course it's the Weather Underground generation, but Jay Clark, you'd think they'd have seen enough since then and learned enough since then. And more than that, you'd think that maybe some of their other similarly aged people would have corrected them in this time. That's what
All
I'm
right,
saying. What happened?
Watch you missed the Ford Fisher one there at the end.
Oh,
Remember I said
I
I
want to
asked
point
it.
out too
right,
that
right.
all these leftists who whip out their cell phone and hold it, that's not a superpower, and literally no one cares that you are recording it.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, I'm so glad you got this.
Usually, all that you're recording is your own moronic behavior. So,
facts. We're happy you're doing it, by the way. Oh, remember, kids, no vertical video. If you shoot vertical video, you will be shot.
you will be shot for vertical video format. But by the way, a cell phone is not bulletproof. I'm just throwing that out there. It will not stop a baton swinging at your head.
Yeah, facts on that one.
So, Scott, I am so happy that you pulled this because I
Border
saw
Patrol-
this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My only comment on this was, God, it's not possible for me to vote harder for this than I already have, but they are trying to make me find a way.
Sure there is. You can vote online and in person. Or vote by mail and in person.
Yeah, Border Patrol smashed a window out and carried him away by his arms and feet from a Speedway gas station while conducting immigration enforcement as part of the surge on St. Paul, Minnesota. Agents fired sting balls at activists who blew whistles in warning. And this is a thread, so there's a couple different videos. So they're all about. We could just kind of go through.
Yeah. I have to comment before this. The remarkable thing about this, and the one that really got me, is that this like, yes, this guy was being taken in for immigration because they found out he was illegal, but the reason they were here and the reason they were stopping him at a gas station and the reason they were investigating him in the first place is because he was part of the ice stalking things. And so this is indicating to me that they have a significant portion of the ICE officers that are there just dedicated to picking up these activists that are trying to stalk them, trying to dox them, trying to get people killed. And it's perfect. I'm so happy Greg Bovino's on this.
Back up! You can do it! Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up!
Oh,
Hey!
he's like, let me roll it down.
We're going to back up. For our safety and your safety. You back up.
I think Jim's got a point here. The reason it's old boomers is because the teachers union's backing this all. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's why they let school out until school's out for a month here.
Well,
why? So that the teachers and the students can be out on the street and be part of this.
Well,
I like how everyone
especially
keeps saying they're masked men with no identification. Do you see any of them with no identification?
Like every single one of them is very easily identified.
They're not police. What does it say on their uniforms?
it literally says police.
Literally says police. Little ad for the Titman 77 there.
Yeah, hold on. I need to turn the volume because somebody's. Let's go back just a little bit. You can hear somebody getting the hate, but you can't see it. Ready? Yeah, that's a sound I remember from my childhood.
I like that the head of the Border Patrol is absolutely involved in all this.
One more. You go back there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pull your wrist. One more. You get back there one more time. Back up. Back up.
God, Greg Bovino is
And he's got smokes just dangling from his gear.
Yeah, you're
he's
right.
such a boss.
You're right about voting for the Tartar. I mean, this is literally what I voted for. You know what? I'll be honest with you. The CBP or the Border Patrol should have their own YouTube channel and literally cover this. Have their own embedded media
I've
team.
noticed that they have gone to special efforts to make sure that the media that are there that appear to be on their side are taken care of, and when a move is made in, they try as hard as they can not to hit them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think this is official policy and it's a good one.
it's like Nick Sorter, right? They knew who he was, and they were very. You saw the pepper balls hit the bad guys and not Nick and his camera guy.
So the crazy part is that Border Patrol chief who was there allowed CNN to take that absolutely ludicrous photo of him and posed for it. Have you guys seen it? Where
oh my god, yes.
Background and he's wearing the long wool coat. Literally looks like a Nazi. That was stupid.
Hold on. I gotta put a CNN photo. I gotta find this one because it was bad.
It's absolutely terrible. He should have just said no to this photo. And I don't even know why he has that uniform jacket with him. Yeah. Why would you pose for that? Because that plays right into their narrative, right?
It's so bad I almost question if it was AI.
Maybe.
Here's ICE agents seem weak. One guy and they can't control it. So listen,
hey, have you ever tried to arrest someone who doesn't want to go to jail?
Especially if they're a healthy young person, resisting with his maximum effort. I mean, it's
with
not
a vehicle
easy.
involved. Also, there were 6 of them arresting 2 of them. So
yeah,
there was a driver and a passenger.
He needs an evil hat to go with the coat. I totally agree. Like a peak cap.
He's like a North Korean comical hat, right? With the big
I would vote for that too. Hugo Boss trench coat. I mean,
but surprisingly, live ice. That's a great idea. Be prepared. That's a great
gentlemen, though. Would you believe me if I told you that wasn't even the craziest thing to happen at a protest this weekend?
Oh my God, this next one is just off the rails. All right, so we got a story here, and I think there are multiple videos embedded, watchers. So feel free to, as I read, just kind of feel free to pull these videos out and. All right, so this incident appears to, let's see. At some point in Los Angeles on Sunday, a U-Haul truck with signage opposing the reinstallation of the Iranian monarchy drove through a group of marchers calling for regime change. Yeah, so basically you had pro-Reza Pahlavi protesters, and then this guy goes in, he says, no Shah, no regime, USA, don't repeat, 1953, no mullah.
And then this is the link to his Instagram account, which people have pulled.
Right. The crowd quickly went from frightened screaming to outraged violence, mobbing the truck after it stopped and pummeling the driver as police took him into custody. The incident, which appears to spring from clashing views within the Iranian diaspora, unfolded at 3:40 on Sunday afternoon after a crowd of demonstrators had gathered in LA's upscale Westwood, along with adjacent Westwood neighborhoods. Westwood forms the epicenter of LA's prosperous Iranian American population at approximately, let's see.
Hold on a second. Be very careful about that. Wait till you hear who wrote it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to agree with that truck.
Yeah, let's see. As the crowd was in the vicinity of the Wilshire Federal Building, the video showed a truck moving at a decidedly unsafe but not unnecessary homicidal speed down Wilshire Boulevard as it was lined with demonstrators. There's no reason to believe the U-Haul driver didn't intend to hurt people. He was in a large truck and caused no casualties.
I want to give credit to that LAPD officer for having absolutely perfect hair despite all of this.
Despite all of this, LAPD always was good on the hair products. Almost half those cops have headshots. So, I mean,
yeah.
Let's see. The driver may have been using the banner-laden truck to advertise his particular views. This is where I want to talk about what he was putting on there. So let's see. One of the English signs read "No Shah, no regime. USA don't repeat 1953. No mullah." And the "no regime" and "no mullah" elements of the sign seemingly indicate the driver was opposed to both the reinstallation of the monarchy and the current regime. The admonition against the U.S. repeating the 1953 is clear. That's the year the U.S. and the British intelligence engineered a coup d'état that ousted Iran's democratically elected prime minister and restored Reza Pahlavi as the Shah.
Hold on. So one of the guys here said, so so we're going to back we're going to back regime change in the Middle East now. Not necessarily. What I am saying is, why would the communists want none of the current options? Well, because none of the current options support the communists, and they literally just want the country to fall into chaos so that they can take it over like they do every fucking where else.
Yeah,
be very careful who you support.
Right? It's not about regime change. It's about those are literal communists. I don't ever agree with communists.
Let me just read this next part that kind of explains who like this guy may have been like connected to. The key player in the push for the Iranian regime change is the Marxist-rooted Mujahideen Khalik, also known as the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran, but typically referred to as the MEK. If you are a longtime listener to the show, you've heard of the MEK before because we've talked about it. Founded in the 1960s, it often characterized as something of a cult and designated by the United States government as a terror organization until 2012. The MEK allied with Iraq during the Iran-Iraq War and has been accused of serving as conduit for phony intelligence about Iran's nuclear technology created by Israel's Mossad and helping the Mossad assassinate Iranian scientists. Operating both inside and outside of Iran, the MEK has infamously doled out hefty speaking fees to parade U.S. political figures, including John Bolton and Rudy Giuliani. Having participated in the revolution that dethroned the Shah, the MEK has long opposed a revived monarchy, instead favoring a secular democracy. Bullshit. The MEK doesn't want democracy. The MEK wants the MEK to run. The MEK, like the YPG and all these other kind of pseudo Islamic communist organizations, is mostly communist with a like a Muslim skin suit that they wear. Let's see. Social media users speculated that they assumed the driver in Westwood was a MEK devotee. While there may have been some differences, the anti-monarchy MEK and opposing monarchy nostalgic elements of the diaspora have one thing in common: deep pockets and influence that make them potential players in the war being waged amidst the intensifying push for regime change in Iran. Here's the interesting thing. I think what you're going to see is the current Shah, well, the son of the Shah, the crown prince, I think his name is also Reza Pahlavi. I think you'll see him lead a transitional government and then advocate for a democratic solution to who's going to run Iran. Because this guy basically grew up outside of Iran most of his adult life. And so to that end, he is not a local. That's like remember, Joe, we brought in, what's his name? Hamid Karzai, who was running, he had a pizza place in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia or someplace like that. Before he became the president of Afghanistan, he was
a leader of the Northern Alliance. He was not a
no. That was Shah Massoud was the leader of the Northern Alliance, and he was assassinated right before 9/11.
I don't believe. Well, yes, okay, yes, but then who replaced him?
So Hamid Karzai was connected to Afghanistan through fundraising in the U.S., but he was a business owner in the U.S. He wasn't on the ground.
He was running a pizza place or anything, but okay.
Well, in my head canon, it makes for a great story,
Okay.
Anyway, I may have lost details in the telling, but he was in the States on 9/11 is what I remember. Anyway, point is that Reza Pahlavi is not in Iran right now. And if he does go, I think that this transition kind of thing is absolutely the right role for him. And then he steps back. And if he wants to just be kind of like a supernumerary or something like that, then or a figurehead. That it's whatever the fucking Iranian people want, I guess, at that point. But that being said, don't believe your eyes when people say that not all, like all the Iranians want the same thing. They don't.
Yeah.
Just want to take a quick break before we move on to the next thing to say thanks to the 150 people that are currently watching over on YouTube. And if you could go ahead and give us a like, it really does help us in the algorithm. Before we move on to the next story.
The other thing that I would like, if you guys would take a second, you can close the live chat out and leave a message. Leave a chat on, or if you don't do it now, do it after the show is off. I was just reading about algorithmic tinkering, and evidently that's like the number one thing that people in the chat can do is to leave a comment after the, in the permanent comment section. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
To an unfortunate bit of news.
Yeah, so we're going into the Iran segment here, guys. A lot of shit is going down in Iran, and we've seen a pretty deadly turn over the last 72 hours. Death toll and clampdown on Iranian protests reaches hundreds, rights groups say. All right, real quick before I get into this, I'm sure we'll probably touch on this, but now's as good time as any. Hunt's Dirty Roof for $5. Seriously, why do we want to work at establishing any government in Iran? Keep that nation is a state of constant chaos, thereby forcing those who are regionally. Here's the problem, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Chaos doesn't work. Then you get Somalia, and Somalia basically creates terrorists.
Well, and communists, very specifically. Communists are who thrive in that kind of environment.
Well, in the Middle East, you have you do have communists, but the ones that blow themselves up are the terrorists, and so that's the ones I worry about the most coming out of the Middle East. Here's the thing: like, so somebody said, Are we now neocons because we want regime change in the Middle East? No. Because a neocon wants to bring Jeffersonian democracy to the world. Right? They basically say that is the way, and we have to bring it by force. And the way you do that is by taking over a country, overthrowing its government, occupying it, and then installing some sort of a kind of technocratic prince, like an educated, it's like a Harvard educated or Oxford educated prince to basically run the country in some sort of secular monarchy.
That's ideal, but let's be honest. We'll take literally anything that is stable and isn't going to act directly against our interests.
Yeah, and so in this case, I don't think we get involved in how it happens. I think we just help them do it for themselves, right?
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, I've always been a fan of self-determination, and that used to be what America stood for: self-determination of the peoples. And if they want to put themselves under an Islamic monarchy, that's on them. Making them some sort of an American protectorate where we try to manage it and it ends up costing us 1 million lives is not a strategy.
No. Yeah. That's exactly like the point of the neocons was to get us involved in endless wars. The point of what we're doing now is to resolve the wars that the neocons had set up in order to be endless wars so that we can extract ourselves from having to worry about this dumb bullshit anymore.
In fairness, I like to criticize the neocons as much as anybody, but in fairness to Francis Fukuyama, who invented the whole neocon idea, right? It wasn't about constant wars. It was about using war and force in order to have regime change all over the world. And then that way we could have the perfect kind of American world.
But I'm talking about not the theoretical version, but the practical version.
I know. I'm just saying that's the
industrial complex and senators that had, shall we say, pockets that felt rather light.
Install Prince for the Purple Rain. Well done. That was beautiful.
All right. Let's see. Moving on.
I think that hundreds is by a factor of 10 wrong.
Yeah, I think it's into the probably multiple thousands at this point, maybe even 10,000.
Well, I mean, last time it was what, 5,000 or 6,000 officially.
Well,
And we've been warning of this all along. Totalitarian regimes always turn to the machine gun. And ironically, it's made leftists defend Tiananmen Square. It's
well, yeah. The irony, Joe, is when when the other people when the other side does the exact same thing the Israelis are doing, they support the other side. It's kind of like
every time.
Yeah.
Wow. And then they're having to get out in front of that, though.
They're like, who do we support in Iran? Well, Trump's supporting this side. Oh, well, then who's the other side? We'll support them. That's literally the way they approach it.
Except for, and we'll get into this later because it's part of our thing, but except for there's a huge faction of them that are trying to make a hard, fast correction on that over the last couple of days that seems very suspicious. Anyhow.
All right.
I'll remind everyone that everyone who likes to point at the Tiananmen Square image, that guy was killed along with 10,000 of his friends the very next day. So,
Joe, I want to both admit a mea culpa and also, chalk up. I'm going to call it a victory. It was not Hamid Karzai running it. It was his brother, it was a family restaurant in Baltimore, not Philadelphia. But at the time of 9/11,
Karzai was always a public face for fundraising for the Northern Alliance, and before that, ironically, the Taliban.
Yeah.
And then before that, so he was never a pizza shop guy.
I know. I'm saying his brother was, and that makes for a better story.
That's actually funny.
I love it. All right. Moving on. Back to all right. So at least 192 protesters have been killed since the mass demonstration started, said a Norway-based Iranian. This is way low. Unverified reports have shown several hundred people, even more than 2,000 might have been killed thus far, probably more than that, due to the total internet blackout and severe restrictions on accessing information. Independent verification remains a serious challenge under the current circumstances. Let's see. Said Sunday that at least 538 people had been killed in the government suppression, adding that 490 deaths were protesters and 48 were members of the regime's security forces. And that's interesting that you're saying like mid double digit deaths of security forces. So there is an active resistance. Around 10,600 people have been detained, the group reported, adding that the death toll and the arrest numbers will likely rise. No shit. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that on Sunday that outside groups have been fomenting discord in his country and have been facilitating riots as well as general unrest. He also signaled that the country's regime would be willing to speak to some of the protesters. Bullshit. Speaking to the youth in Iran, Pezeshkian said that they should not be deceived by those rioters and terrorists. He said that the individuals are trained according to comments carried by the state-run media. Let's see.
This is where all the screeching of Dem Jews actually benefits the Ayatollah's administration, because everyone in even the West, but everyone in the Middle East blames the Jews for everything. He can just point and say, you're doing the bidding of the Jews. It's them, right? And our media tends to play right into his hand with that.
Well, what's been interesting, Joe, is several more than once I've seen video of people in the crowd basically saying Mossad come, basically some kind of chant in Persian, but it was about the Mossad coming and helping or whatever. So it's interesting how it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend, when it comes to Middle Eastern politics. President Donald Trump has offered support for the protesters, saying on social media that Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The U.S. stands ready to help. Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that people are taking over certain cities and that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very closely. I've made this statement very strongly, and they start killing people like they have in the past, we'll get involved. That doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So some of the rumors around why we may not have hit them yet, despite the large death tolls, is because there may be some debate inside the Pentagon on exactly what targets to hit. And, it's kind of like, I guess there is debate on, do we demonstrate that we will hit them, or do we demonstrate, or do we actually hit targets we think will decrease their likelihood of them being able to, take action against. And then you don't want to blow up the military units that might be on the. So it's a very delicate thing, and it's not easy just to kind of hit people. So
again, though, if we wait long enough, this will become Trump's Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, well, see, that's just it. You can't. It's like you need to hit the right targets, but you can't wait so long. It's kind of like that whole decisive, a poorly conceived plan is, executed decisively is better than not doing anything at all. I think he gets it, Joe. Stubbs toe. The Jews did this.
It's snowing again. The Jews and their space laser.
All right. Let's see. About 6 years ago,
laser to weather machine. My apology to the Jews in the chat. I didn't mean to confuse your nefarious devices.
Well, somebody was talking about, they're using space lasers, just not Jewish ones. They're using South African ones.
I don't
know if you guys saw,
but that's going on in the chat. They're not burning down mosques in Iran. They burn down a mosque, and it's a particular one that is related to the Ayatollah. Not all of them. They burn down one.
I think they probably burned down more than one, but I think you're right. I think there are the ones where that are specific to the regime.
You just have to argue with me, don't you?
Well, I'm not arguing. I'm just adding to what you have already said.
So, and I'll add that as long as we're on the topic, the update went out to the Nick Fuentes bots that they're now in support of the Iranian regime because they're based defenders of religiosity. I'm sorry if you're still on like the Fuentes, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, fucking. It's so obvious that's an inflammation op at this point. I don't know how to help you.
It's really a shame because I used to really like Tucker Carlson. I mean, used to be my favorite, but
he needed. It's a George Lucas situation, I think, Joe. I think it turns out that what we liked about Tucker was a combination of all the people who worked for Tucker in combination with Tucker, and then when he lost all those people working for him, keeping him in check, telling him, "No, you're fucking insane." Suddenly, we get the prequels.
Derna's got a point here, Joe. The Mossad didn't do it. They're too busy leaving Legos on your floor.
I know. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next one here. So the regime is calling put the call out to help. And who are they calling? They're calling on Abu Azrael. He is this muscle-headed moron who is a Shia militia guy with a social media presence. Joe, I don't think he's like a leader. I think he's just a guy with a big social media presence. He's like a mascot for these dudes. Who knows? He may be a leader. I have no fucking idea. But he just seems like a clown. He's like the most he ever does is he sits there and wave at cars going by.
You know what I'm always amazed at? First of all, is anybody else? Hold on. There's no way
that stupid thing he's wearing. But
no, that's fine. That's fine. But there's no way that our chat cannot look at this beard with this shape and not think of a very specific person.
Yeah, somebody who likes to get pegged and is a cuckold.
That's deep lore right there.
Well, it's a name I haven't thought of for quite some time.
Yeah, there it is. There he is. He's appearing in the chat.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right. So this is his post says, whoever burns the houses of God and assaults the institution of the people is neither a revolutionary nor a reformer, but a cheap tool of the hands of the nation's enemies, executing Zionist agendas under the cover of chaos and false slogans, with the Republic against global arrogance. And so Tommy Robbins shares his post and says, imagine trying to look like some sort of bad boy gangster getting on all your armored vehicles ready to go unleash on some unarmed civilians in Iran.
Wow. Wow.
I need to go dig up an old meme folder I haven't used in a long time, chat. Let's see if I actually labeled it Jack Murphy, because I think I probably did.
I'm surprised nobody's tried to do the lines on that guy walking around, right? Look at his lines, bro.
Oh, I gotta find the Murphy one where it's the sponge butt. Never mind.
These are the brown Irish Murphys.
We'll find it. We'll find it. All right, Scott, what's this next one?
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I guess it lost. So if you're in the fan chat, I'm dropping my comment on Jack Murphy's return. Feel free to, take it and put your favorite meme of Jack Murphy in the in there.
I
haven't into the Jack Murphy thing in quite a while, so I want to. This will be fun. I put Jack Murphy is back, so post your memes here. Should be interesting to see what people come up with.
Oh, I gotta find it.
I mean, what could you do with Jack Murphy and Grok?
A lot.
I'm just saying. Sorry.
I know he says great proposed community notes, Scott. There's probably 1 million people telling you it's not Jack Murphy, dude.
I don't know what happened. It just dropped my mic, and so I had to.
It's the Jew.
You just showed one of our agents. We're gonna cut out his mic.
I know, right? So for those of you who say that this is just people coming out at night, and it's not, and these aren't actually big crowds, slogans at a pro-regime rally in Tehran, Iran today. This is what you call packing a very small number of people into a tight space to make it look like a big crowd. This is a pro-regime rally. So you got to remember, the majority of the people may support this, but the majority of people are not on the streets. And if they can have 10% of the people support the regime and will turn out like this, knowing that they are, there's no police that are going to come and kill this pro-regime people. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people are on the street at night in anti-regime. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy. And then the other thing here too is, Joe, you may know a little more about this, but there are a lot of sects within, it's not just like a homogeneous group of people. Like they're all the same thing. They're all Persians, right? You've got all kinds of different competing interests.
And even you can't say they're all Shias. There's 10 different kinds of Shia Islam, right?
Yeah.
Like the Ayatollah's a 12er, and not everyone is. And there's sects, there's tribes, there's regional situations. There's a lot going on there.
And once again, I'm proving out of touch by announcing I have no idea who Jack Murphy is. Yeah, so this is kind of deep lore for the whole kind of webosphere kind of. He was not a leftist during it. He was a grifter. He would literally take it from anybody.
I'm gonna have to reconstruct them
in more ways than once. In more ways than one, he would take it from anybody.
I'm glad you got that. I
got the joke.
Oh my god.
I'm very happy. I just found the core of the meme that I I just need to find the Jack Murphy beard and we're set.
Jim, we are always about supporting free peoples and their right to self-determination, even if that means providing them arms and ammunition. But I will give my standard caution to that. What comes next, one, may not be your side winning, and two, what comes next may be worse than what you have now.
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind when I think about that is the genie. Once you let the genie out of the bottle, you're not getting it back in.
Yeah. And somebody said earlier in the chat, like, well, what could be worse than the Ayatollah? Well, neither Tel Aviv or New York has blown up in a nuclear explosion yet. So there are tons of degrees of worse that could happen, right?
Very true. Never ever tempt the universe by asking what's the worst or what how could it get worse or what's
How could it get any worse? Oh, boom. Congratulations.
Also, don't ever say, boy, it's real quiet tonight.
Yeah. So so on the topic of pro-regime statements and demonstrations, the Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bagir Ghalib said to Trump, "Come and see how we will destroy all your positions in the region. Come and see how defenders of Iran will burn you into American history. Delusional Trump, do not believe the lies they tell you. Don't believe the lies you are told. Mashhad did not fall. Iran's defenders are present. Imam Reza is present." I mean, let's be honest. They will literally say this. This is like I keep going back to the Americans are not here. Like, was it Baghdad Bob?
Yeah,
Was basically
As he's getting bombed behind him. Yeah.
Right.
Hunch says give them high points, so it's 50-50 if they work. Fair point. Fair point.
Fair point. Yeah.
But let me just point out how giving arms and supporting regime change has worked out for us in the past. We gave arms to Saddam Hussein. One, to get him in power, and two, so he could fight the Iranians. How did that work out in the end? We provided this young man who wanted some funding to fight the evil Russians in Afghanistan, named Osama bin Laden. How did that end up working out? It always ends up backfiring on us. Sure, I want them to determine their own future, but they might not pick the guy we want them to pick.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The best way I think that we can support them is we can determine that some very strategically dropped bombs were able to make some key impact. It's got to have there's got to be really specific effects that it has, but it can't be like some kind of massive American bombing campaign.
Yeah,
because that would delegitimize the protests.
And you could continue by looking at literally every single person we installed or helped get installed in Central and South America from 1970 through 1990.
Right.
How they
then we just need, so we need to do just enough to where they can kind of determine what kind of government they want for themselves, and then let it happen. Support our economically support our agents over there.
Yeah.
But we don't get on the ground.
Hunch makes a really good point. We gave arms to Ho Chi Minh, Mao, and Stalin. Thank you, Washer, for that visual.
No. Hold on. It's better because I just finished my meme. I'm sure everybody's going to appreciate this one.
Oh boy, I remember that. It was like some hook device, right? Like, I can't remember.
It literally was.
Oh, gross. Ugh. That's back when Nick Mercado was bringing you all the details that you never wanted to know.
Yep. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, so if there's Jisho Ronley is so. You have a good point here, right? Hit the IRGC, their bases, depots, especially if we can track where they send the troops out to go. Right. So the problem is IRGC is intermesh and their logistics are intertwined with the militaries. And so you would want to hit the IRGC, but not the military, right? So the idea is that if you leave the military unscathed, then the military are motivated to do the right thing and support the will of the people. But if you start hitting the military, then it starts like, they're like, well, I guess we're in this now. So it's tough. It's not easy. Yeah, Jim, you got the link, brother. All right. I've already read this one, so we're moving on. Yeah, this one here. Let's see what we got. Iran is staging. Let's see. This is from yesterday. Iran is staging large state-backed pro-regime rallies in cities. So that's what we were just looking at, aimed at countering the nationwide anti-government protests over economic collapse and calls for regime change. So what I'm thinking that you're going to see is the anti-regime riots will go at night, and the pro-regime riots will try to go at day. So. We'll see how it works out. I mean, honestly, this is a better tactic than violence, if I'm honest. But I don't know that they're smart enough to realize that. But if you look at all these pictures, they've got a lot of people crammed into a fairly kind of dense, like a tight area. So it kind of makes the effect of their numbers seem more. Like there's more people. These are carefully stage managed. This is the kind of stuff that they were doing in Romania before Ceausescu was overthrown. So sometimes it works against you.
How did that work out for?
I know that's yeah, right. All right. So if you want to know what I think these next couple of videos are kind of go to motivation, right? So this is a Islamic regime imam here. This next one, yeah, these are all pro-regime like parades and stuff like that they're doing, funerals. So listen to this guy. I'm just gonna read the subtitles. I mean, this guy's a real winner, and he starts off saying, "And that's like cows and sheep. God created them so that people have food." God created one more type of animal, and that is woman. They're just like cows and sheep. They're animals.
I feel like he's about to make a Djibouti comment.
God has only created them for men to use. But God created these women to look like humans so that they wouldn't frighten the men.
Remember, this is who the radical feminists are currently supporting.
Aside from that women are just like cows, sheep, horses, and mules, and that's like. And so we're back to the beginning. And so basically,
goats though,
not goats. Well, goats have other uses.
Are different.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So. Joe.
What?
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Too soon. Too soon. All right. Never too soon. All right. So this is so women. These are women in Iran celebrating. They've got their headscarves off. They got some long ass hair and they're headbanging already. So I'm just waiting for the Metallica concert in the newly freed Iran once this is all said and done. Maybe baby metal would be more appropriate.
I'm gonna laugh when they smack their heads together and knock each other unconscious.
These two gals kind of give different viewpoints on, like, you know, on who the Iranian people are and what's their motivation, especially as women. And while I don't align directly with them, I think that they have some pretty strong points, especially the second one.
Islam isn't the religion of Iran, or isn't the religion of ancient Persia. Islam was forced on us after torturing, killing, beheading, raping, and slaving Iranians into becoming Muslim. Iranians, Persians, we're actually Zoroastrian. And even though we might not label ourselves Zoroastrian anymore, it all traces back to it. Zoroastrianism is, you can't even call it a religion when you look at the scripture itself, but it's the first monotheistic religion believing in one true God and one God that rules it all. The most famous example of Zoroastrian priest mentioned is in the Bible when the dream magi go find Mary and offer her frankincense, myrrh, and gold. They used to calculate the stars, and the star led to Messiah at the time. Zoroastrians have one mantra. It's good words, good thoughts, good deeds. That's why Cyrus the Great always believed in humanity. He freed the slaves, freed the Jews. He gave everyone the same rights. He gave women rights. That's just a Zoroastrian culture. And the culture itself, you could probably, if you were to look at the Gathas and read the Avesta and Horda Avesta,
Apparently
you
they
would
ran out
see
of
it's
backing
more
music.
of a philosophy of life.
What's that?
Apparently
God
they ran out of
inherently wanted
background
the world
music.
to be good.
Yeah.
God never wanted the world to be bad. I will share more about this, but
So anyway, that's good. So the interesting thing here is that you're basically seeing a return of cultural Zoroastrianism, especially on the supporters of the Shah, as a
Their
return
God's
of
literally
the
called Mazda, like the car.
What's that? I
God
know.
Mazda.
The good news is that they didn't name him after the car. Tired old Onga. Look at that.
Oh wow.
All right, push pause on this gal right here. Let's say hello to Jim.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You sound tired. How are you doing?
Just long week.
I feel you, brother. How's how are things?
Good. I got to see Joe yesterday, which is always uplifting. Met a few of his men, nice guys. So yeah, all good. And got home and now trying to coordinate the recovery of my failed vehicle down in Utah. So,
oh no,
all good. Dropped the wife off at the airport, so I'm a bachelor for the week. I'll be cooking dinner for Mr. Dolio at some point if he can surface. And
nice.
I'm down.
And I'm glad you liked the Bread Watcher.
Yes, it was excellent.
Yeah,
it's
hit miss, a little heavy, but I kind of like it that way. And your smalls are exceptional. So,
oh, thank you.
All right, guys, what's going on aside from Iran, Venezuela, Greenland?
It's all going down, Jimmy. It's literally
all the time,
a
every day, all
worldwide.
the time. Yeah.
2026 has definitely lived up to the expectations in the hype machine for sure. We've already filled up half of our bingo card, and we're only 2 weeks in.
People are inventing a new game. That's what's going on. Trump's new strategy is a totally new game. It's like, throw away the old board games because this one's going to take the kids' attention for 3 Christmas seasons, right?
That's what he's got to do. He's got to grab the people by the short and curlies for the next 3 years and keep them in his pocket because and I'll be honest with you, Jim. I haven't decided yet if the foreign policy blitz isn't a response to the fact that they've realized that the economy is not going to be a quick fix. It'll be a fix. It just won't be quick, and it may not be in time for the midterm. So,
well, the problem that everybody runs into is they think that these ships of state can turn on a dime, right?
Right.
And so, I had a long conversation this week with somebody about national level spending, and we should call all of Europe spending. And I said, do they even know how to spend the money? And he said, no. He said, that's the problem. And, it's something I've been concerned about, which is how do they actually begin to spend money? If an organization the size of the EU hasn't had to directly spend money on something, beginning to spend it can take 2 to 3 years, right? You got to pull it together. You got to write a law. You got to get all the, everybody aligned. So, we're going to build 100,000 man army and we're going to come over and defend Greenland. Sorry, that's a 5-year plan at best, right? With an immense amount of spend. So, yeah, we're in a theater of absurd. What isn't absurd is that these countries are kicking their totalitarian leaders out. And so we, writ large, have an opportunity to do the right thing by that. And I think your commentary on Iran was pretty darn good. Reza is a great guy. He's been in Washington a long time. He's got friends. Even if it's not him, he can help catalyze the next leadership. And I agreed with the comment. You can't be bombing the IRGC it might piss the Army off if you take out a few of the good guys, right?
Right.
And so it's that keeping the IRGC occupied, and then having the Army step up and say, hey, let us actually handle it. The problem is the Army is a backwater. IRGC gets all the money, all the leadership.
Yeah, right.
So the Army, I don't know what they're capable of doing these days, but somehow they've got to get part of the security state to back this movement, because these kids are just getting shot. And that's a bummer. And you still got the Basij running around, like you got the guys on the motorcycles down in Venezuela. This is their way. And I hope we have a good formula to short circuit a lot of it, but it doesn't appear that it's going to be the same in each country. But the threats are similar, and the goal is, it's a righteous goal. These people want to be free. The Persians deserve to be free. The Venezuelans deserve to be free. And the thing about Venezuela is they all want to go home, right? They're in Colombia, they're in Brazil, they're in Chile, they're here. Let's get the country back on its feet and get the people home, because it should be a great place. Used to be a great place, and it should be again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is a path that leads us to a very productive and like very good version of Iran. There's a lot more paths that take us down a completely different. And like Joe, one of the things that I think you're wise
to intrigue me is that I just saw the thing from Hunch. He's exactly right. It's like we've been supporting everybody for a long time. We need to support people like Iran that are important, that are civilizations that are self-standing. They deserve to have a place at the table, I think is the way to put it. And the mullahs have prohibited that since the revolution in '79. And we have a lot of them here. I mean, LA is chock full of them. DC area is chock full of them. And they're really aggressive contributors to the American lifestyle and our culture. They've adapted well. So maybe we can turn around and do a good thing for the people of Iran. And I don't know how much it would take, because you've got the Kurds coming in and supporting this revolution. Get a couple more movements going, get the Arabs fired up. I don't think the Iraqis are going to be very helpful. But I think maybe the UAE and Saudi might be helpful, but they seem to be at fisticuffs too. So the regional power game's underway, and we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll see where it ends up. But Joe, I think you've said it many times before, and I think it's wise. It's like, don't be so eager to overthrow one devil because you may not like the one that comes up. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if there's a worse version of Iran, but there are a lot of bad versions.
Like I said, there is a worse version of Iran. It's one in which Tel Aviv glows in the dark. So,
that's right. And I think that's the problem is this version of Iran was going as quickly as possible towards that. So we'll see. I don't know. I am optimistic, but I am not hopeful.
Okay, I'm hopeful and not optimistic then. All right. So I think Joe's concern is not petty at all. It's there is a problem with the 12ers that they are end of times thinkers, right?
Yeah.
And if you corner a couple of them and they have the capacity to do something totally wacky, they may do it. I hope not, but you never know. The risk is there. And you don't need a warhead that functions. All you need is some really nicely refined material, and you could really ruin a spot. And that's my big concern, is that they would put a dirty bomb together. And if that happened, that would be just, an annihilation attack on somebody just to lay waste to their country. And that's kind of been the lingo for 30 years, right? So you're not overreacting by thinking about it, but it would be really, really horrible. I hope the planners are prepared for everything. And I'm sure the Israelis are standing on the tips of their toes, pointing the finger at every possible threat. But like all organizations, they have limited capacity too. They're not perfect. So I'm just, as I said, hopeful.
You're always hopeful, Jim. That's what I like about you.
Always the mantra, Joe. Always the mantra. Now there are some people I'd like to bitch slap every day, but and the list does change. But this week's pretty good. I just got a lot of work to do. So
Yeah.
So what else? What else is on the hit parade for today?
All right.
I
So
missed the
next,
show.
yeah. So next up, we've got. Okay, so we got another one of these Iranian women explaining. Actually, she's got a better understanding of what the situation than women in America do. So let's listen to what she has to say. I think she recognizes the truth, the universal truth that woke white women will be the death of us all.
Hello, Iranian here. They keep asking the same question. Why are lefties, why are the loudest pro-Gaza voices completely silent when it comes to Iran? Well, the answer is simple, because the truth exposes the lie. Because acknowledging Iran would shatter the ideological fantasy that they built. Let's be clear. Islamic Republic of Iran is not a victim of Western imperialism. It is a theocratic authoritarian regime that survives by exporting violence, funding Islamists, and crushing its own people. And yes, it funds Hamas, it funds Hezbollah, it funds all the little proxies around the region and around the world with Iranian people's money, not the government money, not the regime money, stolen money taken from the worker who cannot afford bread in Iran right now. Families crushed by inflation, taken from women who are beaten, jailed, tortured, raped for refusing religious obedience. And this is why leftists are silent, because Hamas fits their narrative, but Iranian people don't. Because Islamist violence against Israelis can be reframed as a resistance, but Islamist violence against Iranian exposes the truth. Right now, as you're watching this, Iran, a country of more than 92 million people, is being erased in real time. Near total blackout for more than 24 hours. No internet, no call services, no connectivity whatsoever. And yet silence. No emergency protests on Western campuses, no hashtags, no solidarity statements, no megaphones, no tears, because Iranian suffering does not fit their agenda. Because leftist movements today are not driven by human rights. They are driven by selective outrage and ideological loyalty. They will scream about censorship unless it's done by an Islamist regime. They will condemn the state violence unless it's wrapped in religious language. They will chant free Palestine, but they will never say free Iran, because that would require admitting something unforgivable, that political Islam is not liberation, it is domination. And that is exactly what's been happening in the West, by the way. That the Islamic Republic is not anti-imperialist, it is imperial toward its own people. That Hamas is not some isolated resistance group. It is part of a broader Islamist ecosystem that is funded, trained, and sustained by the regimes like Islamic Republic in Iran. And here's the part that they do not want to hear. You cannot claim moral superiority while excusing a regime that kills and murders women for refusing hijab, executes protesters, cuts off the whole nation of 92 million people from the internet, and uses foreign proxies as a distraction from its internal collapse. You cannot pretend to care about Palestinians while ignoring Iranians being shot, tortured, and murdered by the Islamic Republic in Iran. That is not solidarity. That is ideological blindness. Iranian people are not silent. They are being silenced. And the silence from the Western left, well, that's a choice. A choice to protect an ideology, a choice to excuse Islamism, a choice to look away when millions of people are suffering. Because their suffering, Iranian people's suffering, complicates a slogan. History will remember this moment. It will remember who spoke for universal freedom and who decided that some lives matter less than preserving a narrative. Long live Iran.
So, I mean, that's definitely one of the kind of, I would say, wouldn't say majority views, but it's definitely like a widespread view, especially amongst the Iranian diaspora. But it's hard to kind of tell if she's UK based or if she's Iranian based. I don't know. I think she's probably UK based. Guys, what do you think? I mean, I think she's on to something, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys had to say.
Well, I think Joe's got the key point. She's got the Farawa.
Yeah.
She's Zoroastrian.
Yeah.
That's the second video, both by women, both wearing, both of them Zoroastrian symbolism. There's an organized campaign here. And I think that's one of the things we recognize. These are not organic.
Yeah.
And Durna, you're right. That is an actual halo, not camera flare. So,
well, you know, there's a reason they're putting pretty girls on with common sense kind of talking points that seem very reasonable, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the monarchists are absolutely, you know, so there's no side here that doesn't have some sort of an agenda. You know, Jim, we were talking about Reza Pahlavi's kind of. It's definitely, the situation's changed since the last time we talked about this. Was about a week ago, I think. What's your kind of take on his trajectory at this point? Do you think he does the transition government thing and then deuces out?
I really hope so. I mean, I think he's a really good guy. The question is, does he have the mettle to do this? And, you know, one of the things I've always told opposition governments that were, you know, exiled opposition governments is stop talking like you're an exiled government and start talking like you have a plan for when it goes your way, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm beginning to sense with the people around Reza and the other people is they're beginning to craft a plan they should have had on the shelf, right? And what I'm seeing from women like this, really accomplished young Zoroastrian faces, right? As you said, pretty girls. I'll say accomplished women because I think that's kind of the target segment that they're trying to be, because it's defensible, right? It appeals both domestically, but it also goes after the psychotic left-wing white women that we're dealing with in the streets here, who we've got to calm down. I mean, it's gotten absurd.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think that they're trying to win them, but I think they're trying to neutralize them, right?
Well,
if you could just
whatever they have to do, they have to quiet that storm,
right?
And the people who are vulnerable are the true intellectuals, right? And I think that they're really targeting that. And remember, a lot of the Persians who came here are very well educated folks, and they've gone into the universities and the professions, and they're very American. I would say they're, you know, kind of second generation Italian type accomplishment, plus a much deeper academic capability, and they're in all the universities. And I hope this gives them the ability to stand up to the psychotics, right? But as we know, the universities are still rather toxic. So we'll see how they go. And I think Trump is on the right side of this, and I think that a lot of the Middle East is on the right side of this, and I know Israel's on the right side of this.
That's the interesting thing. I think the kind of key shadow player is Israel and who they put their kind of money on.
Well, yeah, and honestly, it's going to require hands-on. That's always the problem with you. That's the problem we're going to have in Venezuela, is it needs hands-on. And I know Joe's booked out, so he can't go. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure who else is going to do it, right? You know, we need thousands of people, thousands and thousands of technocrats and people to go down to begin backfilling these failed economies. And Iran's in the same boat. And so you can't go in and do what we did with the Ba'ath Party and scrub them, because it leaves you with that giant vacuum of power. And then you get into the overpromising and under-delivering thing that we did. And that gives you, you know, Karbala and the Shia militias, right?
So what you've seen are a lot of kind of grassroots protests in front of the Iranian embassies in various countries. This is in London. This is the kind of thing that's going to get a lot of eyeballs. So this will be the last point, and then we'll move on. So this is a young man. He's in pretty good shape. Joe does a little pull up here to ascend to the famous balconies. You know, SAS once went through these windows.
So it's like Persian parkour. Look at this.
Yeah, this is Persian parkour. That's exactly right, Jim. So he climbs up here, gets up on the balcony of the Iranian embassy, famous for the the
siege.
Yeah, the siege, where the SAS there was their coming out party. And so he pulls out.
Days in London is a great movie about that, by the way. So
he's replacing the flag.
Right. So he's pulling down the Iranian regime flag, and he's going to replace it with the Shah. If he can figure out how to work the flagpole. There he goes. He got it. All right, you got to act quick, buddy. You're getting ready to get arrested. So
I don't think the arrest is the concern. It's the security guys will come out of those hardened windows.
Well, he'll jump down to
the Iranians didn't shoot him through the door, right?
Well, I was going to say, I bet those windows. I bet that's all battened down pretty tight at this point. I think his best bet is to jump down on that Tesla there, or not the Tesla, but that Prius, and then turn himself into the Met.
You see, this is a good young patriot, right? I like this. This is a good protest, right? He's not hurting anybody, but he's making a very strong symbol. The question is, are they going to blame Elon and go after X on this? I bet you they do. Without X, this wouldn't have happened. It seems to be the mantra.
Yep, that's right on the money. All right, switching, cover some other bases before we say good morning. Moving over to Venezuela, New York Post cites a Venezuelan guard claiming U.S. forces used some sort of unknown sonic or directed energy weapon during the raid to cap Nicolas Maduro. The weapon allegedly disabled radar and incapacitated soldiers. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it, he said. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. He claims the effects were immediate and severe. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. And he said, adding that troops couldn't even stand up after the sonic weapon or whatever it was. The U.S. has not confirmed these claims.
I will point out to your comments before the show that there are versions of the LRAD that do exactly those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's not. But I guess my point is, it's not the little hand, the little handheld LRAD.
No.
It's like an industrial scale one.
Big helicopter mounted, needs a shit ton of energy, but yeah, they work.
The Goybeam, no. In this case, it's the U.S. space laser is what got him.
There's some interesting uses for this that I've been trying to tell people for a long time. You learn some interesting things about organ resonance frequencies and all kinds of crazy shit sound can do in the subsonic frequency where they don't actually hear a sound, but boy golly, does their body cavity feel it.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have some interesting details eventually are going to leak out about this raid. Yeah. This is the kind of raid where the details are too juicy not to leak. As soon as they can.
Just before we move on, I just want to make a quick little cough and say Havana syndrome.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's immediately where my brain went with this one. President Trump cuts off oil and money to Cuba, tells the Cuban regime, make a deal before it's too late. All right, so this is a Donald Trump post. Cuba lived for many years on large amounts of oil and money from Venezuela. In return, Cuba provided security services, but for the last two Venezuelan dictators, but not anymore. Most of those Cubans are dead from last week's USA attack. The Venezuela doesn't need protection from anyone anymore from the thugs and extortionists who held them hostage for so many years. Venezuela is now has the United States of America, the most powerful military in the world by far. To protect them, and protect them we will. There will be no more oil or money going to Cuba. Zero. I strongly suggest that they make a deal before it's too late. Now, this is a serious threat to Cuba. I would go so far as to say potentially existential. Because unless China's going to step in and bankroll Cuba, this was exactly how they subsidized their entire budget was money from Venezuela.
That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think China can step in.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think so either. But
they can't supply what Cuba needs. Cuba needed the physical connection. Cuba needed the in and out, and what Cuba will end up with is nothing. And the Cuban people are just burned out, right? And I know the diaspora would love to go in and take over their lands again. So something will give this time, I think. Cuba can't stand alone if it doesn't have Iran and it doesn't have Venezuela, and it's once removed from China physically because there's no staging ground. They have a serious problem, or it's a seriously good opportunity for them, because I remain hopeful. Right, the hopeful side of this is that there will be change in Cuba, and it's about time.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little more of a slow burn, but I think that I think 6 months from now, you may very well see the economy collapse in a similar way to what happened with Iran, and that very well may turn the people out. And so, a lot easier to support protesting Cubans than it is to support protesting Iranians. A lot closer.
Yeah. You're not going to see a Valle de Cochinos redo. I think the people who really are the threat to to the Cuban government right now are the people in Venezuela who had a bad experience with Cuban security services. If we let them go on Cuba, they will be very quick about it. So my guess is there's somebody in the national security element in Venezuela that would love to go into Cuba and help free the country. So I think we watch and learn.
Any further thoughts, guys, on continuing events in and around Venezuela? I think there was something. Oh yeah. So Trump had his oil summit, I guess, over the weekend. And Jim, did you hear Exxon is not invited to the party?
Well, Exxon's been handed its pants a couple times. And they're right. They don't. Yeah, Maracay, the oil deposits in Venezuela are unique. So if somebody has a refinery that handles heavy oil, great. You'll see that they'll be the most active. So the guys in Houston who have the refineries to handle it, they'll want access to it. But I think Exxon's part of that thing off Guyana, which is heavily capitalized.
And that's much sweeter crude too, isn't it?
Yeah, this oil is really expensive to handle. So I think what you're seeing there is Exxon just looking at it competitively and saying, yeah, maybe we're not going to do that. But at some point, somebody will put a large refinery into Venezuela to handle this crude locally. And you can put distillates on vessels. I think that'll happen, and I think you'll probably see Jones Act boats go down there and pick it up and bring it into the U.S., which the shipping folks in New Orleans and other locations down there will appreciate.
My understanding is there's a lot more new Jones Act boats being integrated into the fleet.
They need to build them. We need to build lots and lots and lots of vessels. And you got the guy, what's his name, Conrad, out there on the internet. Talking to Trump, talking to everybody. I mean, he is an evangelical sailor. But he's right. I mean, we need a
he's 100% right. He is the lone voice in the wilderness for the merchant marine.
So I'm I'm actually heartened. Two of the families I've interacted with in the last 3 months have kids that are in the maritime schools and are coming out as masters, as engineers, and wish to be in the merchant marine. So it's there are a lot of young Americans who want to do this. The problem is the world hasn't been a competitive playing field for American mariners. We need to build and own our own ships. We cannot rely on these vessels from these flag countries, and we cannot rely on Chinese owners, clearly. So we need American owners, and we need to not subsidize, but allow them to be competitive, I think is the way to put it.
All right. Enough said on Venezuela. Moving on to Syria. I did not have it on my bingo card this weekend that we would do airstrikes on Syria. I was focused more on Iran. U.S. partners launched new strikes on ISIS targets in Syria. Strikes today targeted ISIS throughout Syria as part of our ongoing commitment to root out Islamic terrorism against our warfighters, prevent future attacks, and protect American and partner forces in the region. U.S. and coalition forces remain resolute in pursuing terrorists who seek to harm the United States. Footage was shared by CENTCOM that showed F-15 and F-A-10 and A-10 jet aircraft taking off from an unspecified location, along with footage of strikes purported targets. CENTCOM did not specify what partner forces assisted in the January 10th strike throughout Syria. Saturday's strikes were part of a continuing retaliatory bombing that began after 2 soldiers and a U.S. civilian interpreter were killed in an ambush in Palmyra. 3 more American troops were injured in the attack. ISIS claimed ultimate responsibility for the December 13th shooting. Syria's interior ministry has said the suspect was a member of security forces who harbored ISIS sympathies. Well, there's some other guys that harbor ISIS sympathies, and we'll talk about them next. But let's finish this. Syria's interior ministry said it arrested 5 more suspects in connection with the December 13th attack. Since sweeping into Damascus and driving off the then. So anyway, they're just kind of talking about the backstory here. Our message, let's see, CENTCOM's press statement said, our message remains strong. If you harm our warfighters, we will kill you. We will find you and kill you anywhere in the world, no matter how hard you try to evade justice. Syria is a country that I want no part of, like no part of. I don't even want to help the Kurds anymore.
Explain to me the basis for being there.
Yeah. I said this online, and I've said this to multiple people. I think when Trump's presidency is in the book, I think his support of Jelani will be one of the blackest marks on his record, bar none.
Yes. Yep. It was a bad move. Wrong decision.
I think we've stayed too long in this Syria game. I'm with you. I don't get it. I understand the micro nature of why you're there, but the macro nature, the strategic nature of why we've stayed there so long, I don't get why those budget line items just didn't disappear. Right now, getting Assad out, okay, but we end up in the same kind of situation we had in Iraq and with de-Baathification, which is, well, who's going to run the place, right? And so, they had to go find a couple guys with ISIS sympathies. So you can imagine the security guy looking at the Americans saying, okay, who's responsible for this? And the guy going to his sergeant, go outside, grab the first 3 guys to the left. And those are the guys with ISIS sympathies. They're in the hallway in my building. They've got sympathies. Go get them. And we're going to go put them in a cage and light them on fire. Right. That's what you're dealing with there, even in this Jelani government. And I'm with you. It boggles my mind. But when I see an A-10 being used efficiently, I get the same buzz I got from watching Maxim machine guns get pulled out in Ukraine, right?
You like to see it.
It's like, man, the guy's working it with the Maxim, right? It's the same kind of aged materials that are still good. It satisfies me as an old guy.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. All right. All right. So, speaking of ISIS, I was hoping these are the ISIS we were going after. So this is former ISIS fighters now working for the HTS or AKA Al Qaeda military in Syria. They have just I think this is the group that had just killed several fighters and dumped the body of a Kurdish female fighter from a 2nd-story building. If you look at that guy in the background, go watch her kind of scrub through it and see the guy in the balaclava there. You'll see him here in a second. Right there. That is a white guy.
It is a white guy.
And I'm curious as to which white. Now, let's be honest. The way he's wearing his plate carrier, and he's the only one I see wearing a plate carrier. I don't know that he knows how to wear a plate carrier. So it makes me feel like he's not an American, right?
Jihadi John.
But maybe he is a Western fighter. Maybe he is just a white guy who ended up in Syria or Syria with white skin. Well, I was going to think, Chechnya, but I don't know. He doesn't have a bushy enough beard there, kind of poking out.
Go back to Lawrence of Arabia, man. He's a Circassian.
Right, exactly right. So anyway, some stuff. The ISIS guys are still around, and they've got the patches too, right? So
I like that theory.
It's probably Keir Starmer. Yeah, he's looking for a place where somebody will like him. Is where he's looking for. All right, this is our exit topic for today. Greenland. I posted earlier that I care neither about the German Navy nor Greenland, but when you put them together, it's a magic. It's magic. So Trump, rattles his saber over Greenland, and what happens? NATO wakes up. They finally wake up, right? According to Bloomberg, Germany plans to initiate a NATO joint mission called Arctic Sentry, aimed at monitoring and protecting security interests in the Arctic, including the territory of Greenland.
Oh, you mean the thing we asked them to do in the first place? That's the entire reason we're talking about doing this, because they weren't taking the security of Greenland seriously.
Here's the irony: to be led by a U.S. Naval Task Force commander.
Oh, of course.
The plan will be similar to NATO's Baltic Sentry mission, which ensures the protection of critical infrastructure in the Baltic Sea. Meanwhile, British officials are negotiating with France and Germany counterparts regarding the deployment of military counterparts, naval vessels, and aviation in Greenland as part of the effort.
I'm just going to drop this right here. The plan: continue to threaten to take away European overseas possessions until the filthy Eurotrash actually start to take their own defense seriously. It's the same theory as how you bully that fat friend until they finally start to lose weight when gentle hints stop working.
Of note, Germany is the second highest spender in NATO, and they spend about 10% of what we spend. Actually, less than 10% of what we spend, but.
Yeah, this getting Europe to spend money is going to be difficult, because they're like, oh, we're going to go from 1% to 5%, but it'll take us 4 years. And then it's like, well, where are you going to produce the stuff that you're planning on building? They got to start over on a lot of this.
I have a ratchet up strategy as well that I think you'll enjoy. I think we should start holding annual drills in nations that are not currently meeting or are suspected of not meeting their NATO obligations. And the drills will be, the American military will do a simulation of what it would be like to take over your nation, capture your prime leadership, capture your infrastructure, capture your internet infrastructure, and see if that maybe changes the minds of the voters on the ground and gives them the proper perception of why it's important to invest in your own defense.
This is funny.
I just what I want to see is the battle of the bands, right? So the German martial music and the French martial music and the British martial music just aren't going to work together. So I think they're going to end up just doing polka, right?
Well, the problem is the German. Here's the thing: it's like the Germans are in the battle of the bands, like the U.S. used to be in Olympic basketball back in the 70s, right? Always getting their ass kicked, but because they wouldn't let their best people come out and play. I mean, if you let the Germans play their best marching songs of all time, they'd clean up. But they're too scared of ideological.
But it's illegal.
impurities.
It's illegal now. Yeah, it's illegal now. It'd be unacceptable. I just think that's where this is all going to come apart. Is going to be the little details around the formality of interoperability.
Interoperability.
Yeah. So a buddy of mine was seconded to the French in Gulf War I, and I said, how was it? He said it was a nightmare, man. He said they were drunk every night. He said they drank the wine at dinner, and he said you couldn't get a goddamn thing done. And so it was a 9-hour day, right? And the rest of the time they were all sitting in there drinking wine. And he said it's just we didn't meld operationally. And I think that's what's going to happen in Europe is they're all going to have their own little bubble, and nobody's going to want to give up their nationalist bubble, but they want someone else to pay for everything. And this is where this is where the tension's going to start, and that's why the Germans just kind of circled up and started doing everything themselves internally. But what the Germans are doing internally won't necessarily mesh with the rest of the EU. So I think it's going to be a hell of a lot harder than anybody thinks. So when they start talking about putting forces together, good luck, man.
To add to that, if it ever did come down to something, I think you'd appreciate it. The story that's flying around right now is a story of a recent German task force that they stood up to go do a practice. And during that,
is this the light one?
Yes, during that, so the an admiral comes out and is talking about what a great idea it is that we still maintain these practices of being able to communicate ship to ship with flashing lights. Everybody was confused because they have laser systems that do that in high bandwidth now, right? You don't generally have to actually flash lights, but come to find out that the Germans were actually forced to do that and could barely communicate and almost had several navigational issues because the Chinese started jamming them in the middle of their training drills, and they literally could not overcome the jamming.
Yeah. You don't want to invest in any American equipment that's hardened against that kind of thing, and you want to reinvent it yourself. Guess what? It gets much more expensive when you try to do these internal redevelopments that have already been done. You got to swallow your pride and buy best in class stuff. But now they're into this. Well, we can't trust our allies, right? Well, we can't trust you. You might not be there for us. There might be a kill switch in the system.
Well, if you're literally trying to undermine us on a daily basis, if you're trying to, like, they through international efforts are trying to strip our citizens away of our most fundamental rights, the thing that our country was literally based around, and continue to try and manipulate our political sphere the entire time, maybe you should be afraid.
Are you talking about pathological individualism? Is that?
I sure am.
By the way, Watcher's visual is pathological individualism, but I find it very effective. So,
speaking of pathological, let's look at this next guy. This guy is off the fucking plot. This is what you call a fever dream, a European fever dream.
This was brilliant.
We don't need the audio because it's. I don't think it's in English, is it? Because they've got the. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's not in English, but they've got.
He's French, I think. Yeah.
Oh no. This guy speaks 12 languages, but will only speak French in public, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So I'll just read. Here we go. Greenland is the red line. Hold on a second. So consider that if they invade Greenland, if something happens, in Greenland they're no longer even systemic enemies, they become enemies, because when you attack a country territorially, what's the use of armies if you don't use them? Countries, if we let that happen, we'd better the 50 to 55 billion we want to spend on defense of France. It's better something else to spend it on social welfare if we're not capable of defending our territory. Belonging to the United States of America and Russia. How about if we belong to Danes? What if we simply belong to the Greenlanders? Frankly, you shouldn't talk nonsense. There's a population, and they're already there. There are no military powers in Greenland other than the United States and a gigantic BAP. What else do you want to do? You know very well what this is about. What the Americans want is to drill. They want to go the minerals, get the Danes, but explaining to us that it would be really good. It's better militarily if it's not the Chinese. It's not the Russians. It's the Americans who have been there since the Second World War. So don't tell us there's a need to physically seize Greenland. Yeah. And so basically this guy's he's on the, we need to go to war with America if they decide they're going to seize Greenland.
Can I just say that they are somehow more upset about this than they were about Russia actually invading Ukraine? And I'm not even being hyperbolic.
No, you're 100% correct.
No, the emotion is incredible, right? And it's universal. It's universal.
His feminine hand gestures, right?
Right. Yeah. This is because the dirty secret for Europe since World War II is they're our bitch.
Yep.
They know it and we know it. And this is them having to basically finally admit it in public.
And they don't like it.
Well, no,
they definitely don't like it.
Well, they won't admit it, but they've been called out.
Oh, 100%.
And I mean, when you see this, you don't need to use this rhetoric. Well, look at the rhetoric that was necessary for them to begin to spend money even after the invasion of Crimea, right? They didn't move at all when he took Crimea. He didn't move when they took half of Donetsk and Luhansk. The Europeans have sat on their thumbs, right? Apparently happily. And they've been diddling with their damn lace panties like this guy, and now they're all worked up. So they need to sort this shit out, right? And they're saying that they're going to do it, but they're turning and attacking the United States, and that's a delaying action, right? Everybody knows we're not invading Greenland. I mean, it's an absurdity. We have basing rights. We just have to up our game on the basis. The problem is we can't physically secure the place for free. So this is about, if you want sovereignty, you better defend it, right? It's this. The only people I see who are actually taking this shit seriously are the Finns. The Finns and the Poles seem pretty worked up, and they're doing things, right? Swedes somewhat. But, you know, the Germans and the French are just, God, they're fighting their own little battles, man. They seem so happy to fight among themselves. I can't imagine what the meetings are like. It's got to be freaking epic, right? You got these guys sitting around in Brussels and sitting around in the various NATO locations where they try to sort this shit out. And then behind the scenes, can you imagine the subterfuge that goes on in who gets chosen to contract for certain things? Who the winner is within these European industries?
Yeah.
I
have to take a moment and apologize to pit bulls, actually, because I had often never understood the instinct of a pit bull to see a tiny barking thing that is trying to get aggressive at it and just want to completely dismember it. I now understand that impulse. I really do.
So no better person to respond to this meme than our good friend and part-time CFC compatriot Don. This country has, so it says here, map of America if it tries to invade Greenland. Liberated States of America. You're welcome, the EU, made in the EU. And Don says, this country has been begging blue helmets to show up here for my entire life. It's an active hope that you'll set foot on U.S. soil with hostile intent. Seriously, we've been selling blue helmet targets for 20 to 30 years. You know what? If you count the number of guns in every European army in the entire continent, and then compare it to just the civilian weapons, I'm pretty sure we got them beat.
It's orders of magnitude by which we.
By orders of magnitude.
Yes.
So I remember like 20 years ago, there was an election underway. It was after the Bush election, right? It was the one where they got down to the counting in Florida. There was an EU delegation that had been sent over to do poll monitoring and confirm that the vote was legal and all this other stuff. And they were so anti-Bush. A friend of mine in D.C. Houses, so offices, groups that come over temporarily. So he officed these guys, and he actually had a German defense group. He had a bunch of people in his offices in D.C. But the Europeans show up to be election monitors, and I remember looking at them going, "Guys, are you serious? You're here to do election monitoring? What are you worried about?" Oh, the freedoms. We have to make sure that the minorities are accounted for. And I mean, it was an early DEI snapshot of the way the EU thought. And I just found it amazing. And they sent tons of people over. They were all over the country. But this has been going on a long time, right? They've been planning their dominance of their sphere of influence, but they've always found our irreconcilable kind of need for individuality to be toxic. It terrifies them.
Yeah. Well, so all of the mutants from Europe who were blessed with the individuality gene coming out of the Enlightenment decided to say, "Fuck this! I'm going to America."
Yeah,
Hey, Watcher, can you go back to Don's post? He had some follow-ups in the comments I wanted to kind of bring to mind. They're worth talking about here. So he says, there we go. He says, it took less than a day to start categorizing loot drops. Let's see. Completely Occidental said, German UN troops could bring those nice HK-91s we can't get anymore. It would be looking for German troops. Let's see. Be collecting dog tags and trading them like Pokemon. And then he shares this is classic. I've seen this one before. He shares this comedian's bit right here. It says, this is worth a listen. It's short.
States of America, most powerful country on this planet. And it's not because we have more money or we're better looking. No, it's because we have something in this country they don't have in other countries. That's right. I'm talking about rednecks. Good old boys with an arsenal in their basement that have been waiting for just such an occasion since 1775. Oh, believe me, foreign troops land in the South. There'll be a line of pickup trucks and NASCARs heading down I-95. Marines will show up 3 hours later, nothing but beer cans and shotgun shells. What the hell happened here? War's over, baby!
I love the sentiment. Lance Corporal Veteran says EU wants an EO army as if their NATO and UN peacekeeper missions have ever shown more than records of failures. Now they want another convoluted military. Here's the thing. The sad thing is there were some Europeans that did good work in Afghanistan. Most of them did no work, but there were some that did good work. I'm looking at you, Poles. There were some Germans out there, the special operators, for the most part, when they were allowed to operate, did very well. The problem is that let's be honest, the mainline politicians in Europe had no desire for any of their soldiers to actually do any fighting.
And most of those
units say they were there and not actually do anything.
I can attest to this. I spent some time in Romania when I was in Turkey, and those people were based and. I had some general officers listening to how I was using COVID as an example of an information operation, and they were like taking notes, like as I was talking about it. They'd never heard anybody saying some of the shit that I was saying.
You see, but the restart in Europe is challenged because all of their best units, right, the ones that did the GWAT deployments, that got in big trouble, right? Remember how many of these people came home to prosecutions, right? Were accused of war crimes. Germans, the Canadians, the Norwegians, the Danes, their best people, their commando groups or whatever they called them at the time, many of them were disbanded, right? And all of their leadership and the people who participated in actions in Afghanistan and Iraq, they were threatened with prosecution on their returns home. It was really, really hard for them culturally. And so they've squashed that culture, that soldier warrior culture, and they're having to dig it back up. And as you know, it takes generations. The continuity is important, and there's been discontinuity in most of these countries in that warrior ethos, which is challenging. The healthiest I can see are the Swedes and the Norwegians, Swedes and the Finns. They seem to be picking it up real quick, and the Poles, who've always had their asses kicked, right? They didn't prosecute the Grom guys who came back from Basra, which was a good sign.
Yeah, the reports that I heard was that the Grom guys, you had to hold them back a little bit. All right, it's not War Crime Wednesday, so let's dial it back here, guys. All right, so that's the last thing I got. Watcher, you got something to share there?
I do. Hold on.
Oh, is this the?
I have a full audio video presentation. Just a moment. Thank you. Let me get something queued up here. Listen, folks. As we have mentioned before, our officers out there, they need your help. And our brave ICE agent here who just got doxxed and had his family information given to everybody is probably going to get targeted for the rest of his life. And he really could use your help on the Give, Send, Go link that's been provided there. I believe this is correct. Did the Sarah McLachlan do it for anybody? Just no? Okay. Well, I tried.
I mean, it's making my ears bleed. I thought this was... I thought this was the sonic weapon from Venezuela at first.
But there you go. If you guys actually wanted to contribute to this gentleman's fund, which it's popped up very quickly, I believe this is a correct fund. I've researched it myself. It's not the officer who started it. It's a guy who has been opening funds for basically anybody who the left has tried to target for quite a while that doesn't open their own fund. So
now this is what's it up to now?
$166,000.
That's not nearly enough. We need to make this guy a millionaire before it's all said and done. So that way he can go and get into private security or something like that and start his own business or something like that.
Well, I thought it was absolutely ludicrous of the AF Post, whoever that is, to post a photo of the man's wife.
Yeah, of his wife.
Yeah.
Well, they knew what they were doing. It's a communist revolution. Let's stop being surprised.
Gentlemen, let's go around the whole. Joe, looking, it's only Monday and it's already been a active week. What are you seeing in your crystal ball looking at the rest of the week?
I see some crazy leftist activity for the rest of the week, and I see a continued Lord knows what's going on in Iran. So I'd pay attention to those two things. But I would really be watching for crazy leftist activity.
Well, yeah, leftists are crazy. So yeah, 100%. That's the thing, Joe. I think it goes more hard in America for the domestic scene than it does in Iran first. And I don't know what it looks like. You know, it could be just one of these scared white Karens pulling her little, Glock carry out and trying to take on the police because she feels threatened. I mean, I don't know what it looks like, but man, it's going to be bad, I think, before it's all said and done. Yep. Jim, what do you think? Any ideas?
Well, yeah, I'm sanguine about this, but we've got a lot of countries that need to be redeveloped. And Iran, Venezuela et al. Are going to be a lot of work, and the Ukraine is going to be a lot of work post-conflict. I think everybody needs to gird for that, and I think Trump's competitiveness is positive because Europe was circling around saying, okay, well, we'll own everything in Ukraine after this war is over, and the Ukrainians want to own what they have, and I think the United States will be a good partner to the Ukrainians once this war is over. I think during the war it's been tough. But there have been some movements in the law that favor engagement with countries like Ukraine. And the Japanese are on their way to the Philippines this week. I sent that on early this morning to you guys. I think that they're going to change the rules of engagement in the South China Sea and the East China Sea. I think the Japanese are going to start patrolling aggressively with the Filipinos and not taking... They're not going to take the nonsense from the maritime militia and the Coast Guard the way they have. I think there's going to be a ratcheting up of, as it was described in the article, teeth. And I think that was an overstatement, but I think we're drawing a line in Asia. And when I say we, it'll be the Japanese and the Filipinos and probably the Singaporeans and probably Vietnam. And so there's going to be a really interesting shift in how they deal with the Chinese in the next few weeks. And we'll see how the Chinese react.
Yeah. Watcher?
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff to watch out for internationally because the Chinese are feeling itchy. But I think that's going to manifest in domestic violence, and I think that's going to come rather sharp and fast because they're watching as the energy in their current protests starts to peter out. You can only get paid protesters excited for something like this for so long, and they're starting to feel a bit demoralized as ICE is actually hunting them this time. I would look for sharp escalatory action. I think there's probably going to be ambushes this week.
Yeah.
Well, say a few prayers for the young men on the streets and young women on the streets, because they're doing a good job, I have to say. And the whole meme that ICE is badly trained, boy, they chose the wrong poster. They chose the wrong poster child for that, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
you got a special response guy 10 years in, injured on duty, and he's back at it. Yeah, come on.
He's a veteran trainer.
Yeah. It's just absurd.
Ask literally anybody who's done anything, any amount of combat arms for a living. Hey, do you think you could put three shots through a tee box while getting nudged by a vehicle?
Yeah.
You know, I got to go to Kalispell today, Jim. So I'm going to be looking out to see if the same 5 geriatrics are standing on a street corner with anti-ICE signs.
Yeah, this has become almost cultural. It's kind of like the 60s. The difference is, for some reason, this generation of leftists in this country is more prone to violence. You know, we had the Weathermen, we had the various domestic activities, we had the Puerto Rican nationalists, people who were blowing shit up and killing policemen back in the day. But for some reason, this new iteration of Marxist urbanist is creepy as shit. And you read people like Andy No, who came out of Portland, right? But he's gone more national. He's been following these people in Antifa and these other groups for a long time. They're really twisted fucking people. They're nuts. Yeah. And the hippies and the yippies were crazy. And you had small groups like the Weathermen who were nuts. But remember, the Weathermen are still here, right? They're in the Chicago School of the Democratic Party. That's why Chicago is such this hard-based place to deal with. It's because that hasn't gone away. And so there's going to have to be some changes in the way cities are run. And I think you're going to have to see the government pick up some of these city leaders and prosecute them. And we'll see if that occurs. That's a reach, and it's going to be really politically tough if it happens. But I don't see another way to quote, liberate these cities from this psychosis.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Thank you very much. Chat, you were awesome. Joe, Jim, glad Blaine could join us earlier. It was a good day. Appreciate you guys all for being here. If you haven't done it already, please like the channel, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. If you would, once the video is over, please leave a comment. Let us know what you like, what we're talking about. The presentation was a little different today, so if you like this format better maybe than the old format, whatever you want to comment on. If it's just to give us a thumbs up, that's fine too. By the way, that's not toxic. The thumbs up is an absolutely positively good response for anything if it is positive. My kid was like, that can trigger people, Dad. You better watch out. I'm like, all right, whatever. Anyway, so we will be back on Wednesday, same time, same place. And until then, stay safe.